and the walls close ever and ever closer. 4 teams remain, and only 2 can walk out of this round. Welcome to the final day of the BPL Rumble, Rally Rumble, Rumble Rally. You know,
either way.
bringing the hot action to you, Gio. I mean, I know that I am sweating right now with how intense this entire tournament has been. Upsets abound. And we're going to have to see if we can pull out 2 more, because we got 1 going on BPL 2 and 1 maybe potentially coming up right here. We got Crabball and Blossom. Tell us about these teams.
Yeah, well, both of them have had a different trajectory to get here. Blossom has had a pretty solid run of things. Only, I don't even know if they've dropped a map. Looking at their history here,
Just the one.
Actually, no losses. Where Crabball have lost twice, once against Scotland. They're out of the bracket, so I can't really cheer for them anymore. But yeah, Blossom have had the cleaner run so far. But Crabball, they've been one of these teams where, again, in these BPL setups where you're getting to use to your team, it's difficult at first when you can only scrim for so long. Crabball's one of those teams that take a little bit longer to set up, but now they've ramped up. However, it's still been close battles in this bracket compared to Blossom. So, a betting man might say that Blossom is definitely the team to win it here, where Crabball, they'll need to pull up something special.
Yeah, but I think that in the bracket stage, as you can see running around that bottom half of your screen, Blossom haven't dropped a map. They've been 3-0 all the way. But Crabball, they have shown that they have got a tough shell about them, Gio, that they can handle the barn burners, that they can handle these slogs. Because look at that, 3-2 after 3-2.
I know, one might say the crab almost got boiled, but they escaped the pot. But have they just entered the fire? That's the real question. I think a lot of people looking at the overall standing, I mean, Blossom is second in the standings. So Blossom and Buccaneers are 2 of the teams that people have their eyes on. However, it's a bracket, right? It's all about the moment and the night. And Crabball have shown that they have that resilience. Like you said, they've got that shell. They'll need that tonight. They'll need to bring that essence. They'll need to hit them with everything they have to snip Blossom's run early and make it to the finals.
That they will. And I mean, let's meet the players that are going to be making that happen one way or the other. We got the rosters coming out. I mean, I just want to start talking about Blossom. We were talking about these guys before we hopped onto the stream, and oh my goodness, that tank roster and that support roster is a who's who of BPL veterans. But that DPS roster, you might be looking and going, the tanks are vets, the supports are vets. Where have I heard these DPS names from? And the answer is, unless you're a rabid Kitsune League follower, not many places. Bit new.
Yeah, newer names on the DPS roster, but like you said, what a team to join to be able to ease in and get used to it. I mean, MacTackle and Bochi have so many achievements. MacTackle is a 3-time Role Star. Bochi has so many achievements. Is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-time champion in BPL and BPL adjacent tournaments. And the support line there to bring them up. And so far, the DPS have shown that they can hang with these big, heavy hitters. Crabball on the other side, more newer faces on the side of Crabball with a little bit less BPL experience, some of them with no BPL experience, but one of their players is someone that can really step up to it, and that is Frozen, who on the DPS lineup is not only a Role Star from Snowdown, but is a BPL Season 5 champion, where Snapdragon made that incredible run for the brackets and were able to win it. So if you have any Snapdragon player, I know Blossom do too, it's definitely a boon for your team.
Oh, it 100% is, and it's especially going to be a boom as we talk about Crabball and their their resilience. but they're going to run into Geo a question of, can they keep it going? Can they run? Potentially, if they run to a map 5 like they have the entire time, can they then go into the finals and not be exhausted? Because that's going to be a lot of maps in a row to push through, and we're going to be starting a bit of a silly little map pool here. We're going to be going to Hollywood. It's going to be that Blossom pick for the top seed.
Yeah, Blossom going right for Hollywood. We've seen Hollywood get chosen before against teams that are a little bit brawl-centric and they get really outplayed. And if you just look at the Hollywood history, Crab Ball have lost a map on Hollywood where Blossom, they're pretty much comfortable. Both their bracket games have had Hollywood in it and they have won it. So brilliant pick by the front runners here. Now, how do Crab Ball? Do they have the dive capabilities to outperform Blossom? Do they have the poke capabilities to outpoke Blossom? These are the different questions for Hollywood, but Blossom are certainly coming out with a haymaker by choosing Hollywood first.
It's a message, it's a message from Blossom saying, we think that we have got this one over you. And now we're loading in. We've got the defense showing a Reinhardt composition. Maybe not something you usually see there, but Blossom showing the wrecking ball. What are we thinking?
Yeah, so far, looking at this, if Crab-Ball are a Rhine team or a Brawl team, then picking Hollywood is the perfect scout call for them. Blossom leaning towards this ball composition. I imagine they're swapping off of this, but if they don't, I'll be really impressed. You've got a lot of spam from the back line. Yeah, they are actually sticking with you. A lot of spam from this back line and being able to output damage as that... Yari, oh my god, I almost forgot the hero's name. Yari is going to have so much output. Meanwhile, you apply that pressure, then Fairy looks for a pick on the side. Bocce follows up with Mac Tackle. This is going to be really tough for a Rhine composition to work against this.
Yeah, I mean, this is Mac Tackle all day long. Can they find that pick? Nearly taking out the Baptiste, gets the Immortality Field out, and puts Crab Ball in this corner. And just now is going to take this off angle, but the Bocce is going to get taken down by Magpolar. And that's the opening that Crab Ball needs. They're going to shut down the offense. That's a really great thing to stay alive by Lethal.
Yeah, and Frozen's going to get back quick from this stagger pick. If they keep it up like that, then Crab Ball can really stick together. Having this Tracer allows those off angles to be contested somewhat. In fact, Chicken goes down in the poke stage. Whoa. That's a tough one.
Yeah, and Bocce onto the Junkrat. Not a lot of hit scan on Crab Ball. Well, took out the hit scan as Magpolar goes down. Can't read it, Lucio, that one. The Widow's gotcha, and Crab Ball are going to have to retreat to the streets.
Yeah, they'll have a recontest here, potentially even a window. They can get high noon if they're careful about this, but so much spam coming in from Junkrat, it's going to be difficult to retouch.
It's going to be incredibly difficult to retouch, especially when Mac Tackle's on your back line, and it's going to shut it down immediately. The Rhine's going to drown on dry land. The Lucio can't do a darn thing about it. That's going to be the late stall by Frozen.
Man, this is such an irregular composition right now. I mean, you've got Junkrat Ball composition. How am I even meant to break that one down? I mean, this just is designed to make Ash's life difficult. But if they set up on their high ground here, they can keep it with this window. And then they've got the high noon to hold control of it. They just want to push Blossom off of the high ground first of all.
I love this from Blossom. Really trying to keep Crab Ball off the high ground, pushing them off with this Wrecking Ball. Incredible. The high noon gonna get knocked off the high ground. Lethal's gonna get taken down. This is just what Mac Tackle does. Probably gonna get taken out there, but you give your life for that in a heartbeat to take out the Baptiste. What are you gonna do? Lucio heals? I believe not. Crab Ball trying to approach this high ground from an alternative angle, but at this point, with no Mac Tackle, Blossom can't push in that much. So they're going to wait just a bit. In for sight, up.
Nano Junk? That's incredible.
Nano
Doesn't actually make it up there.
Well, he's got another mine, gonna come in and dish out the damage, gonna get the trap onto the Reinhardt, throw out the Riptire. Can he get the picks? Of course, Bochi gets the picks. One on the Rhine, one on the Lucio. Junkrat strikes again.
What on God's green Overwatch is going on in this matchup? And your introduction to that fight as a nano Junkrat going up, like, okay. One of the micro things here is that Mac Tackle at the start of every fight is getting that immortality field to get used by Lethal, and that's not there in the fight for the rest of Craball's game. They really need to use these support ults, so they've been holding onto them for quite a while.
And they also have the Shatter. That could be a big one. But they know Crabball. They show it. They show their hand. The Shatter goes off. I don't even think it lands onto Mac Tackle. Barry's going to go down, but it's a trade. 4v4. Lethal gone. Mac Tackle has been on top of him all day and all night. And it's going to be Blossom rolling into point C with 4 minutes left on the clock.
I'm sure our statisticians will start to be counting how long Lethal held onto window before swapping off of the character and not even being able to utilize it. I mean, it's a stationary ult versus a ball composition. It's coming at you hard and fast. There's no way to find it. Chicken needs to be careful with that setup. Now onto the Sombra, trying to just counteract the ball, but if you put all your eggs in that basket, the rest of Team Blossom are going to basically kick that basket down the road.
Yeah, and the swap of the support comp is something I'm very interested in from Blossom. Going on to that traditional dive backline, the Brig and the Ana gonna keep each other alive so well, and you see it just right there, pushing through. Magpolar is gonna get taken down. Mac Tackle just wreaking havoc in the backline. They switch onto the Sombra Tracer, and Mac Tackle still finds the value. Gonna use the shields and throw them onto the allies. And just dish out the damage. Chicken nearly going down, but Fairy's finding 2 and pushing through. 3 minutes to go, and Crabball are in trouble.
Yeah, especially they'll be pushing into mines, and then you have a nano, I guess, maybe on the Junkrat again. You're going to have EMP, you can maybe cancel and clear out the mines, but then even touching this point's going to be a tough one.
It's going to be dangerous. Magpolar's going to go down. Rally onto the Brig. The Nano Rally. I think that gets you a little bonus points for the tournament name. But Ash goes down. Fairy found the pick. And it's just going to be all over. Rally pop from Wi-Fi. 2.5 minutes on the clock, Geo. That's deadly for Hollywood.
Yeah, that is a very good time bank, and it just goes to show... based off of the composition, based off of the time bank alone, Blossom chose the battle perfectly to start this fight out, and there, like, you go for a little bit of a counteraction onto the Wrecking Ball with the Sombra, but in terms of like the follow-up, if you're just counteracting the Wrecking Ball, then the Wrecking Ball is still doing their job. You know, you're not being as proactive as you'd like to be with that setup, where if you go onto the Winston, then you're looking for hack dive combinations onto the backline. I do feel that they definitely couldn't get too much done with a stationary backline support like Baptiste. That's why that window never came out. You just couldn't utilize the window. You're being pushed about, you're being bullied. And the fact that Crabball are teasing, sticking with it, but going with more of a TP setup. Yeah, okay, that's my fault. I was a little bit shocked that they were teasing, even going back to the Baptiste. Whereas Blossom is like, you know what? If it doesn't not work, why would we swap anything? So they're still with the Junkrat. They're staying with the Yari, who's going to get even more damage output on the defense, being able to poke and prod a slowly approaching Brawl team. Crabball have recognized that. They thought about it a little longer. They've went on to the Diva now to eat up some of that spam to allow their team to get into the position to follow up on Frozen and Ash going in.
Yeah, they're gonna have to get some follow-up on this dive, but they can't let Mac Tackle run the show. That's gonna be the question, is can they be proactive, Crabball? Or are they just gonna have to react to Mac Tackle in their backline time and again? Luke is going to be the one really vulnerable to it this time. Frozen already in the backline of Blossom. They're not really finding a lot of pressure so far. Ash getting a lot of damage in the face. Nearly going down. Wi-Fi in some trouble, but gets out okay. A lot of close calls, but there go the picks. Chicken and Frozen go down. And even with the pick on the Luca, 3 picks up for Blossom, you just can't do anything against it.
Yeah, Crabble were setting up for that kind of pincer movement. Not only 2, but 3 points of pressure. Once that healing turret went down to the Echo, you saw the engage come in. It was just a little bit too slow, and that is going to happen with Diva compositions. The rest of the team needs to be ready for it to not be as quick as like a Winston dive. Mac Tackle's getting so much done and disrupting it that they're not getting the setups that they want.
No, now Frozen able to get that pincer move, gonna take out Luca. And even though Chicken goes down, that is a trade you take, but Fairy is looking for more. Wi-Fi popping the ult, and Fairy's taking every single shot, every single pick. Multiple picks out of Fairy, the DPS. You might not have known him at the start, but oh boy, you better know him now.
My lord, yeah, this is just so tough for Crabble to push into, and the fact that all the ultimates from Blossom, apart from the Sunstrike, is ready to go. This Nano will be quick to build. You're looking to set up, pardon me, for this Kitsune rush. You're going to be able to copy. There's a good few copy targets, potentially even the Ana for an anti-nade. We are really looking to utilize this Kitsune rush.
Well, you're not going to be able to use anything. The Riptire cancels out the copy, and Blossom's just going to clean house with Fairy on the Sojourn. Really been the star of the show these last few fights.
How do you prepare for something like this? You don't scrim against this. You don't expect this composition. Blossom have out-weirded Crabball, and there's just so much poke and prod that they're not getting the fights that they want. They're almost at 1 minute remaining. Crabball needs something special in this next fight.
And they do have something special. They have the Kitsune Rush, they have the beat coming up. Not a lot of ults on the side of Blossom. So if they can get it through with just a few ults, Pulse Bomb thrown in, but the Bochi's already down. Blossom, they might just have faltered the last hurdle. Can they get something now? Crabball pushing them out, but Blossom have retreated successfully. Can they find the pick on the Wi-Fi? Any picks on these supports could be massive, but they retreat very, very well. The contest is there from Mac Tackle. Can they get the pick? No, the escapes are there perfectly timed for Blossom. Getting on the point, getting out fast. None of them going down. Kitsune Rush thrown in, finally gets the pick onto Mac Tackle. Luca gone, and the point finally captured, but it's 3 minutes left on the clock compared to almost, I think, 5 for Blossom.
Yeah, and a lot of that is down to Wi-Fi picking that pick. Okay, Chicken really stepped up for the team there. Chicken was a superstar off the back of a pick there. Almost didn't need to use Kitsune Rush. You could use it in a more defensive position where Blossom had to push into it. Now it's all about keeping the high ground control, and it's a lot easier to dive this backline of Blossom now without as much inside cover than it was before, so they're going to have to be a lot more careful with where they position. Talking about careful, Mac Tackle pretty much did that alone.
Yeah, Mac Tackle has just been incredible this entire time. Gonna knock off Crabball from the high ground. Such an important map for high ground control that Mac Tackle being able to deny it is insane right now. Wi-Fi has the Sunstrike ready for it. Frozen gonna get taken out. The Tracer 1v1. Wi-Fi just waiting for a bit of group up, nearly gets the pick onto the Lucio, but of course Boch is gonna get the final blow off of the tank roll as well, might we note. Luca goes down, but the only pick that Crabball can find is maybe Luca deep in the fight.
There's so much chaos happening that the communication between Ash and Chicken isn't there enough, where Chicken is in deep, where Ash has had to back out, and that coordination issue is very, very systematic of a team that's going to get swept by a better team. Blossom, they have the full menu of ultimates here. Crabball, either Magpolar needs to somehow sound barrier most of these ult at the same time, or this is going to be a very rough one for Crabball pushing into it.
Yeah, and Blossom, they just need to not use all their ults at once, or not even at all. No check marks have gone off, and they've got 3 picks. That's even more. The sleep onto the Tracer with the Pulse Bomb. Luca, what in the world? What have Blossom eaten this evening? Because I want a slice.
Yeah, I mean, brilliant stuff. That from ex-teammate to ex-teammate, both the Snapdragon players from the champions of BPL Season 5 there, Luca getting the best of them. They didn't even need to use any of their 5 ultimates in that fight. That's how good Blossom are, but Crapball have a little bit more on their support ults. They'll have Kitsune Rush. It's final fight time, and they do not have an ult advantage.
No, they don't. Not even at all. There goes the Sunstrike. Luca does go down. It's
Oh.
early in the fight. Is this the chance? Barry goes down frozen, deciding to put the team on their back. Can they do it? Can they push it through by sheer power of will alone? Jumping onto Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is going to get taken down now. More systematic comes through. Mac tackle onto the Kiriko, but can't find the kill confirm. As Crabball going to start pushing those through, and those Lucio projectiles are hovering in the air.
Yeah, that's what BPL champion looks like. Frozen really stepping up to the plate, initially taking out their ex-teammate of Luca. Blossom chose not to invest in their ultimates, but they've got so much here in this final fight against both support ults of Crabball. This is going to be a tough fight.
It's gonna be a tough fight, and the contest is there. Fairy with the ult gonna take out Chicken. Luca goes down though, and there's 2 picks from Fairy. Fairy finding 2 nearly the C9 off a Crabball. Frozen throws in the pulse bomb with the minefield on the point, and the C9 on the line. Blossom just could not split the difference. That's gonna be map 1 solidly the way of Blossom. Crabball are having some trouble.
Yeah, Blossom are playing so well. Even in their macro, their team decision there to not use a lot of those ults in that fight, whether that was intentional or a reactive decision, meant that in that final fight where Crabball needed to have someone on the point, they could utilize their ultimates at their own will and basically force the Winston and Tracer of Crabball off of the point and be able to clean up the rest with the mines. A very intelligent decision made by them there, and Blossom are showing that from the micro to the macro, this team could very well be the champions of the Rally Rumble if they make it all the way, and Crabball are really feeling the butt end of that reality.
Oh, they certainly could. And for Blossom, that was a solid show. That was getting yourself incredibly fired up. That was a great map pick. It was great macro. It was great micro. It was great team play. It was great individual play. We saw everything out of Blossom. We saw the man marked for their tank play frag out on the Tracer. We saw Bochi hopping onto the Tracer. I just want to put that out there that is a thing that we saw. Incredible stuff. And for Crapball, you have to come back from this. You have to, in this map pick, in push, you do have your own map pick. Going into push, I really want to see playing to your strength, playing to probably that Reinhardt composition that we saw them want to play on Hollywood. So I'd say if I was a gambling person, if I was a gambling woman, I'd probably say that we're going to see a Coliseo come out.
Well, to contradict that thought, when you talk about playing to the strength, it seems like they're playing to the strength of the other tank player, because Magic Otter is actually coming in now. So perhaps that what you're talking about, where you play into the Rhine, perhaps Magic Otter has got the other areas of tanking covered with more of a dive, because they are going to go for New Queen Street. And to me, that thing, if you're picking New Queen Street against a team that just played Wrecking Ball into you and pretty much, thrashed you in a lot of those fights, then Magic Or has something up their own sleeve. He's going to be able to come up and kind of change the situation for Crab Ball, because they need to shake that last map off, where Blossom won with so much extra time. Crab Ball were unable to get that second point. However, Push is very historically a map that can be snowballed, a map type that can be very easily snowballed. And if Blossom keep playing the way they've been playing, there's a chance here that Push goes by in a blink of an eye and suddenly it's match point. So Crabball need to be very well prepared at how quick this map could potentially go.
Completely agree. This could be a quick one. And as we look at the bracket, we see that we have one of our grand finalists, the Baconeers, come through, take out what is Inspire, and move on to the grand finals. That will be right here at about 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so in about an hour. And one of these two teams is going to be fighting to take them out, and they're a really powerhouse team. And that's a lot of good players on that team. So either of these teams is going to have a tough time. But so far, it's looked like Blossom's game to win.
Yeah, Blossom definitely have the edge here, and looking forward to potential finals with Baconeers. Either of these teams, tough match ahead of them. That team it's almost criminal that roster has been allowed to be put together. Like there's no caging that roster, and that roster now gets to sit back, take a chill pill, potentially watch this stream.
And rest.
Yeah, rest and scout whoever will be up against them next. So perhaps there's even a reason why Blossom are playing these oddball compositions where it's like, if we don't know what we're playing, then our opponents don't know what we're playing, and who we might be against in the finals can't prepare for us. So perhaps there's a little bit of like 4D chess happening from Blossom.
I feel like you might be overestimating it, but hey, maybe it's always been a mind game deeper than we could ever conceive. Now, this is a very serious, deep mind game. Now, let's talk about how the hamster in the big ball is going to contribute to the success of Blossom.
Man, there's so much flank routes and potential for wrecking balls to get in and out quickly, set up for pile drives with their tracer on this map type, that Blossom, if they choose to go for this wrecking ball again, which yes they are, then it's not going to be easy. And they are currently teasing going for Venture. They're a hero that works really well against another Tracer. Tracer players are having tough times against good Venture players. But Frost is playing about, so it might just be on the Tracer anyway. On the other side of things, Crabball looking to go for a more traditional Overwatch 2 dive. Having the Cassidy here means you... Oh my god. Having the Echo here means that they have that ability to follow up on the dive. And again, the weak spot of Blossom is that very low movement backline, that if this dive can get on, then Blossom's composition can fall apart.
Blossom could be in a bit of trouble if this dive can go off. It's just reacting, and Magpuller's already taken down. Mag Tackle is just incredible with this wrecking ball, and with the rework, being able to navigate and being able to take all of these fights. Wi-Fi going to go down, but it's traded out for Chicken. 2 meters, just a little bit of space, and Blossom's already gonna start taking it back. Frozen just can't break through. Mag Tackle just been running the show.
And a dive comes in there. You already see Wi-Fi on the Brigida to try and keep Luca alive, but they're not going to be there yet. Well, meanwhile, Magic Order taking a lot of pressure on the poke stage. You have to be so careful. They just got burst down.
Got burst down immediately. Frost hitting a massive right click. And now, I mean, Luca just has free reign of the high ground. Nothing that they can do, and the stagger onto this Echo could be brutal.
Oh, you're absolutely right, and they do achieve now suddenly you might have only one fight to defend against them getting forward spawn. The mines are ready from Mag Tackle as well as Nano. You only really have a pulse bomb in terms of ultimate, so you really need to nullify the fact that Luca doesn't have Nano yet, and if you take them out of the fight, then before it comes up, then that's your best chance.
Oh my gosh! No way! No actual shot. Frost takes out Frozen with the right click before they can even get taken out by their own pulse bomb, because they blinked, pulse bombed into Bochi's trap. This is insane. Blossom, you can't do this. You can't run the show like this.
Yeah, it's a chilly night here in the Rally Rumble where Frost again found Frozen out. Frozen's actually went to the Genji now, feeling a little bit of a tough time on the Tracer, looking to maybe do a little bit more poke and prod and follow up on some low characters. And with that Sojourn now, being able to hit you with that overclock, that's a potential. Oh! I think that was trapped.
Yeah, that was the trap from Bochi again. This Junkrat has been following up on the Wrecking Ball incredibly well. Not even the Kitsune Rush could keep them down, and Wi-Fi just shield bashing into lethal.
Yeah,
It's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. You can feel the snowball ramping up, and this map is being pushed into the final corner now for Blossom with 7 minutes remaining. Crabball are absolutely all over the place. The pod's being called here by Blossom. They're all over the place in terms of their composition. They've now decided to try and in some way match the Wrecking Ball and have Magic Order on it. However, Wrecking Ball's not been in the meta for yonks, for a long time. So if you're not a Wrecking Ball player and you're matching a Wrecking Ball player this far into Overwatch 2, then I'm sorry, you're just not going to get what you're looking to get out of it. It's a bit of a Hail Mary play. Is it in Magic Order's wheelhouse? Perhaps. If it is, then maybe now Craball can start balling, essentially.
I'm sorry, I just want to clarify something. Wrecking Ball hasn't been meta in Overwatch 2 for what?
Yonks. I will not break down the word because I don't know. But that's the word I use. Yonks.
Is this just something? Is this just something British that I'm too American to understand? Am I too Kona to get this? Oh no!
It might be.
I
Hey, you just have to accept the fact, Kevin, how many UK players and EU players are actually up at this time playing the game and casting, which I guess is a self call out. Oh yeah, the tire's out right now.
Yeah, the tire going to be coming from the stratosphere. Can it find any players? Almost in spawn, but Chicken's able to take it out. That was a bit of a Hail Mary.
Unfortunately, the pause didn't work out for them. There's the overclock.
Oh, and the nano along with it. Frost is just decimating the entirety of Crab Ball. There's nothing they can do at all. Chicken's gonna get taken out. It's only Frost taken out with meters to go. This is looking really bad.
Potential for touch now that there's only 4 players on the attack, but with mine still available, I have the idea that MacTackle is going to keep up the pressure nonetheless.
With the minefield, where did that minefield get dropped? Right on top of Lethal. Gonna take out Lethal, of course. And there goes the beat and the overclock. Can Chicken get something going? Looking for the Ana, does find a right click, not fully charged though, and Lucas still stays alive. Will get taken down at the end, but what an evasion.
Oh, and Frozen goes down as well. It's hard to fight a Junkrat in any enclosed space, and suddenly the picks haven't quite gone their way. Rally comes in.
No.
Blossom want this fight.
They want the fight. They're gonna push through with the Rally. It's going to charge up some shields for Blossom, but it's really not going to empower Wi-Fi as much as you'd maybe want. Now they push through. I mean, Blossom are pretty dominant so far, but it just gets them a little bit of space, a little bit of time to recover. Now on to Frost in the backline. Magic Otter onto the Wrecking Ball. Hasn't been popping off the same way that we've seen Blossom and MacTackle pop off so far, but the time is young. Magic Otter gonna get antied. Taken low. MacTackle and Magic Otter both dueling there, but Lethal's gonna get taken out with the assist by who else? There goes Magic Otter, and the bot's gonna start pushing back towards Crab Ball spawn.
Yeah, in fact, like thinking about the greater result of rallying there, they actually kept that forward spawn. Now this final fight's panicked. Blade comes out from Frozen to try and save it.
Can they get a single thing with it? No, it's the Rally Brig, the raid boss. Pulse bomb onto Magic Otter is going to take them down. And as that bot pushes forward, 3, 2, 1, that's the end of push. 2-0 now for Blossom Crab Ball. on the brink of the end of their run in the Rally Rumble. Can they turn this around right now? Because it's been all Blossom all night.
Yeah, to turn this around it's going to take either like an incredible amount of output from the team, or on the other end, like you need to find like that special magic strategy that's going to be able to outplay the opponent. Now, the thing is, I feel like there's such a large gap here between these teams in terms of their performance so far, to where like we just saw New Queen Street, where Crabball got many times just packed in to their spawn. Like packed snow in Canada, they just got packed right in there, couldn't escape, couldn't get out, and they were really just throwing the spaghetti at the wall until something stuck. And unfortunately, their spaghetti was undercooked and it slipped off the wall. They couldn't get anything done with it, and Blossom are on an absolute tear right now.
They are on a tear, and for Crabball, they've been in. They've gotten that 3-2 result before. I don't think, however, it's been a reverse sweep. But if they want to punch their ticket to the finals, if they want to get a chance at being this Rally Rumble champion, they need the reverse sweep, and it's going to have to start on Surabasa. So we're going to be merciful. We're going to give them a quick moment to catch their breath, to take a little breather, grab some water or something, because I don't know about you guys, but I am sweltering right now. It's really warm where I am. I don't know if you can tell, but we're going to take that quick break and be back in just a moment. So don't go anywhere. Don't change the Twitch channel, because we'll be right back in a moment. Bye-bye. back in the snap. Welcome to the Rally Rumble. Eventually I'll get it right without saying Rumble Rally, because Rumble
No,
Rally sounds cool too.
even
Kudos
our
to BPL.
producer 2 days ago wrote it down as the Rock Rumble or something. So like, don't know what it is, but
That was before.
the Rally Rumble, and yeah, right now Blossom are doing nothing less than proving why they're the #2 seed and why they've been undefeated. As of yet, they haven't lost a single match, and right now, if it continues the way it's going, then it's going to keep being like that up until the grand finals, where they'll be up against Baconeers. However, Crabball needs to now reverse sweep if they want to be in that position. And after how Push went and how quick Push was in the side of Blossom, this is not going to be easy. You need magic here to be able to turn this one around.
You need magic indeed. I mean, Push, our map 1 was was okay. Wasn't awful for Crabball. They got a little bit of push through, and their defense had some highlights on Hollywood, but for Push, they got 2 meters right at the start, at that first fight, and then got run over the rest of the entire map to the end of on for the next 6 minutes. It was really brutal for Crabball, and you have to wonder, what are they cooking? What are they going to pull out? What dish do they have for us now that they can show, that they can bring out? Are we going to see the Reinhardt? What are they going to do about Mac Tackle?
Yeah, and coming on to Servasa, there's lots of ways you could describe this, maybe being a bit more brawl leaning. You can bring out your Maugas, your Queens, your Rhines, or of course your Ramatras, which is probably the more meta decision to make. I mean, however, to be fair, to Crabball to get to this point where they're in the quarterfinals is a big comeback in terms of their performance from the Swiss stage. They were joint third last in the standings, and to get to the quarterfinals here where they're up against teams like Blossom, it's already been an incredible journey. Of course, no one wants their journey to end, so they're going to want Servasa to be the linchpin for them to make their tremendous comeback. And I do think that meta-wise, on that specific map, there's a chance that maybe we get to see Crabball play a little bit more into the strength of the rank comp that we did see on Hollywood.
Yeah, and as well, the maps that we have after this, in terms of what's next, if this one does go the way of Crabball, next is Control, and I think that you can definitely pull that back, and I think that you can definitely say that you can run, if you really want to push the Brawl comp, you can run it on a lot of Control maps. I think that you have a chance. I think that these maps coming up could give yourself an opportunity to push through with your Brawl comp, to play into your strengths. And I think that that is what has to happen for Crabball, is if they have that strength, if they have that confidence, if they have even those comfort picks, bring them out, throw something at the wall, see what sticks, because right now, you are pinned here.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of playing in BPL, this will be the last time. If this is your final map, then this will be the last time you play until Season 6. So you really want to throw everything you have at the wall. I mean, not only are you thinking about the actual game right now, all of this is leading to an eventual Season 6. Where there is going to be the auctions, right? You're thinking about, you want to be on a good team, you want to show yourself off individually as well. There is also that aspect of it, and the fact that Season 5 is such a banger, truly, and I'm not just saying this because I'm on a BPL stream, I'm really excited for that Season 6. However, for all you EU heads out there, and I'm sure any folk know the name as well, Captain Prash has come in potentially clutch for Crab Ball and has given the honorary Indian blessing and buff to Crab Ball for Servasa. That's huge.
Ooh.
That could change
That's
everything.
huge.
Yeah.
That blessings like that can turn a series. That's what I'm telling you. Blessings like that can turn a series. We have some interesting compositions covered right now, and I mean these teams have shown that they are not immune to baiting. So, do we think they're gonna stick with it?
You know what? Anything's possible. I'm not even going to speak on it until they're out of the spawn. The Indian blessing's been given. The Scottish blessing didn't work for Scotland, but can it work for Crab Ball here? They are sticking to this. This feels like I don't like playing against a Wrecking Ball. I'm going hog. So fair enough. The Venture's going to be quite good. The issue is they don't have a lot of speed or movement because they don't have a Lucio to push into a Bastion. So if this form is ready and they try and approach Frost, they're going to get torn to pieces.
Yeah, they're going to be really, really struggling against Bastion. Gonna use the assault form. Not a lot of damage coming through. Chicken into the back line on this Venture. Gonna dip through. Ooh, is gonna have themselves in the way with the Junkrat, and Venture just cannot escape. They can't do it. Mac tackle going low. Gonna get hooked in, but still not taken out. It's Magic Otter that's gonna get taken out. Pulls out the Uno reverse card, I guess. Mac tackle just escaping on the within an inch of their life.
I'm sure Magic Otter's having fun against a Junkrat and a Bastion. I'm sure of it. Especially the fact that the anti-nade is right there, and you're not playing Kiriko for your Roadhogs, so there's in a lot of ways, Magic Otter's kind of getting left alone by their team here in terms of the compositional choice. It certainly feels like a Hail Mary that hasn't maybe been fully thought out.
And one that might not be answered is there goes the dive. Mag Tackle has found where these long-range heroes are poking out. There's a trade. Magpolar does get the Sunburst, but Mag Tackle's in the back line. Magpolar's going to land that headshot. It's nice, but it might not be enough. There goes the dive from Mag Tackle onto Magpolar. And, I mean, this is just what we've seen Blossom do, and moreover Mag Tackle do the entire match in the tournament.
The small thing that went in Crab Ball's way there, though, which hasn't had... There's not a lot that's went their way in this series, but they did have percentage there. They did have control. They have the second attack. They'll have overclock, but they're pushing into a tire. They're pushing into an arrow. Look how far back they are. How do you even get to this?
The Riptire is going to get shredded. Chicken's just going to shred through it. Nothing you can do there from Pochi. And there goes the point. That's just the point there. Frozen's going to take the ult out, but you're fighting over a point that has long since been lost, my friend. That's it.
Unfortunate. Yeah, I think the tire was such a good distraction that they just didn't... They forgot, and now we're moving on to the next one. Blossom didn't need to use the rest of their ultimates. You've used your overclock. This is a tough spot. In fact, Frozen's completely caught out there, and suddenly, even having this point initially, you're not going to feel that advantage.
No, you're not going to feel that advantage. Chicken's going to get a lot of pressure loaded in onto them. Takes out Wi-Fi, but Magic Otter's gone, shredded by the Bastion, and that's Blossom taking the point.
Yeah, and you'll have your Captive Sun, you'll have Window, you know, playing for a more of a spam composition here of a Sigma. So you want to go in the high ground. Hello, Frost, hello?
Whoa. That's a good pick there from Frozen. There goes the minefield to just buy some time. Put the pressure in. Mac Tackle, though, with the Nano. Not buying time. Gonna push through. Gonna have to duck in, but doesn't even stay alive. Not the damage reduction. Can't keep them up. Bochi on the Junkrat doesn't even escape. Chicken has the shot, takes them down, and just a bit over aggression is gonna let Chicken run wild.
Sometimes the game plan is just Frozen gets a pick and wins us the fight. And you know what? Fair enough. Frozen is a player that can do that. Gonna ult early here, try and poke them out, and they can set up with this window nice and far back.
Gonna put some pressure onto Luca, but that will get healed up eventually. As now Blossom and the entire team of Blossom is gonna have a bit of trouble. Frozen takes that early shot, takes out Bochi, and Frost just can't shoot into the Sigma. Luca goes down, and that's it. That's a lost fight for Blossom.
Yeah, and that's another fight where it's been won off the back of just Frozen finding a pick. You did use a Bastion ult, but of course it's not exactly a pivotal ult in itself. Frost has it for themselves. 4, almost 5. If it's a long fight, they will get nano ultimates for Blossom. This is going to be tough to hold in.
A lot of ults coming through. There goes the pick. Chicken gets taken out. It's the ult from Frost, and the beat's going to allow them to push in aggressively. The crab ball can't take it, but it's a lot of ults used here, Gio.
Yeah, all 4 ultimates that they had available to them, they used, and I'm sure if they got nano, they would have thrown that in as well. But they had to. It was overtime. Well, they didn't have to. They could have played longer, but they knew they could take it. Yeah, the ability to get that early pick, though, against Chicken, that Immortality Field just not saving them was a brilliant opener. Now they do have the nano, which has worked out well for them. They'll need to get the most out of it, though, because it's going to be a Captive Sun and a Frozen Overclock.
And these Frozen Overclocks have been pretty big. Nano onto Mag Tackle, and Lethal goes down. Magpolar's in the air high up, and the Captive Sun doesn't seem like it strikes a soul. Frozen can only get 1. An even point C denied to Crab Ball. 2-0, and the fountain goes off.
Yeah, fair enough. You're on the team listed as a tank player, but Bochi just has the ability to play Tracer like that and go absolutely ham in a fight. That's a brilliant ability to flex onto that role and still pop off. It is now map point. It's map point, match point, close to being eliminated. Crab Ball needs to make the most out of this flux, but Mag Tackle's going to go quickly, potentially, with these minefields.
Yeah, this minefield, it has been deadly for Mag Tackle. There goes the Flux and the ult combo, and Magicotter's gonna land onto 2. There's the opening for Crab Ball. That might just be what they need. Can they continue on it? They can't even get the pick onto Mag Tackle.
Frozen, yeah, unable to follow up onto Mag Tackle. The fact that we're on Cassidy now means you've got a lot more upfront damage in the mid fight, and also, in the mid range. Also, you have the ability to now hinder the ball or the Tracer. So suddenly, Mag Tackle and Bochi both need to be a little bit more careful about what they're doing, as Bochi was looking for the pulse bomb there.
Yeah, Bochi now on the lurk for the pulse bomb. Sees the Sigma, receives a Torb on their own. In a bit of trouble. Chicken gonna have to get the Immortality Field. But that Immortality Field means that this pulse bomb could be deadly, but it's evaded by Chicken. That short stature means it's hard to hit them with the pulse bomb. Luca goes down, but so does Magicota. Frost now on the flank. Can they get the ult? They might not even need it as Lethal goes down to who else but Frost. Magpolar gone. And it was 77%, 78 on the percent board. Crab Ball lose a point.
It's a good amount of percentage. It means if this next fight they take it, they'll get the point. So they're in a decent position. They do have to be aware that the sound barrier is ready from Wi-Fi. That they want to try and get this out before the Captive Sun. Maybe try and force it out with this high noon somehow. Oh, Bochi goes down.
Massive.
That's a brilliant opener.
That's absolutely massive, but Chicken goes down. Magic Otter slept up, but they can't find any follow-up. Wi-Fi goes low. Sound barrier goes out, only lands on to 3. Mag Tackle throws out the minefield. There goes the high noon from Frozen, just thrown in the corner, can't land on a soul. Barely alive. Frozen gets taken out, but so does Frost. Even up, Magic Otter hit with the anti-nade. Mag Tackle low, hacked every bit of CC that Crab Ball has, but it's just not enough. And Blossom stay the course, 1 fight away from the finals.
They are, but if they get any staggers here, this is massive. Be careful.
Oh.
Yeah, you have the flux. Oh, You swapped off the Flux.
What?
That was your only ult. That was your only ult, and you. Oh no, that could be a disastrous choice.
They have to get the touch. I think they just had to get the touch. I think that's all that Crabball could do. They need this touch. They need the overtime, and time takes up so fast in Flashpoint. 3 seconds, 2 seconds, and OT comes up. Immortality Field bursts down. Mac tackle's hacked up, but Lethal goes down. It's a 4v4 with Bochi gone. So now big picks. Luca needs to go down for Crabball to even have a chance in this world, in this fight. Point's gonna flip over. Mac tackle going to go down, and Crabball just wrench victory from the jaws of defeat. They have given themselves life.
Yeah, that was a risk reward play to swap to the Wrecking Ball for the touch, and it works out. Magic Order actually gets so much done. Already the mines have been achieved. Fair enough. You know, that sort of energy from Crabball could turn this map around. EMP's ready, your mines are ready, you're going to have all of your ultimates basically, whereas Blossom, they have swapped onto the Genji here. They've got the Blade, but they don't have the Nano. That beat's going to be ready for Magic Polar, so I don't see this Blade getting too much done.
I don't know. It might not be ready in time. They're pretty well set up. If they go right now, they might not have... Yeah, there you go! And Mag Polar's going to get taken out! That's a massive pick. That's great tracking. And Frozen goes down, and that is an early take from Blossom, pardon. And a pretty economical one.
Yeah, I really thought the Magpolar would be able to get that beat in time, but of course it's difficult when there's not an easy target to spam out and get that damage done. Crabball, though, they still have the EMP. If they can get a great setup, they can follow up onto those squishy targets like Frost, like Bochi, or Luca. However, the Nano's ready, and it could go on to an overclock from Frost, and that's about the most deadly thing in this video game.
Yeah, the Nano Overclock is a scary combo. The Minefield might just be even scarier when it's right on top of you. Even the Immortality Field can't save them. Wi-Fi barely alive there. Luca goes down. Both supports gone for Blossom, but they don't give a darn about it. They're just going to keep on rolling through. Going to take out the Magic Otter, who's stalling out. You don't have the point. This is trouble.
Yeah, you really stayed in that one for a long time. Now it's one fight left. If you even can touch, it's going to be difficult. Someone might need to exert himself to do it. You only have the window, which is 2 stations to get anything done, and a high noon. This is tough.
Oh, the high noon thrown out. Just barely able to get on the point as the Sombra.
Yeah, Frost able to just pop off there, and suddenly, yeah, Crabball's chances that they had kind of slipped away from them, and now Blossom have achieved victory. They have been able to just prove themselves. You know, they had just a one slip on one point there, but at no point throughout this series did anyone have any other thought than Blossom were proving themselves to be a worthy challenger to Buccaneers in this grand final, which, oh my god, what a grand final that's going to be of the Rally Rumble. Yeah, Blossom have made victory. They've got a stacked roster, but they're up against a roster that I myself have described as a war crime that it was allowed to be put together, because they have got such a fight on their hands in this grand finals. And both of these grand final teams haven't actually fought against each other in this Rally Rumble. This is the first time that they're playing off. So it's all theory crafting. It's all just based off of the past history. You know, there's small things you can talk about. There's Scotland having a win over Crabball, where Scotland got knocked out by the other team of Buccaneers. So there's these things we can theory craft and work out, but ultimately, the truth of the matter is this: Blossom versus Buccaneers is going to be a hell of a matchup. And I don't know, K-Wing, I think you broke your microphone with how hyped that last fight was.
I know. I had like a whole thing. I was like, I'm so ready. And then, oh goodness, I accidentally hit the big old mute my microphone button on my... Why do I even have that button? I'm serious. I just hit the button. Why?
Yeah.
It's hype though. It's hype as heck. I mean, Crab Ball came back incredibly well. Came back and fought every single one of them, even when it seemed like they were down so much, even when it was
Mhm.
2-0, fighting tooth and nail for that third point, and even having the enjoyment to just type in the chat of like, don't give us one, we're ramping, and having that fun and having that level of being silly with it. That's what you love to see. And an incredible performance from Crab Ball, from going
Mhm.
almost from barely getting a win in Swiss stage to narrowly getting beaten out of the grand finals. Going all the way to semifinals is no small feat. So
Yeah.
congratulations to Crab Ball and Blossom, moving on to the end of it.
Absolutely, and to touch back onto that, just what is Inspire against Buccaneers, the other quarterfinal? What Inspire were seed 13. So both What is Inspire and Crab Ball definitely went against the odds in the bracket realm, and a lot of their players proved their individual prowess here. I mean, to name a few, Frozen definitely on Crab Ball for sure. And when you think about the future, the BPL season 6, then a lot of these players have definitely proven themselves. The finals though is coming up, K-Wing, and that's going to be such a banger. So strap in, it's going to start soon enough in the next probably 10 minutes or so. So get a snack, get settled in. This is going to be a historic finals, I feel like, and I'm definitely going to stay up late and watch it myself. But don't
Mhm.
go anywhere too far, folks, and we will see you there in the grand finals. We'll be right back.
Welcome everybody to the Bad Pachamari League Rally Rumble Grand Finals. My name is Bowsy. I'm joined here by Thor Umea on the cast, and after 24 Swiss matches and 14 bracket matches, we have narrowed 16 teams down to just 2. And at the end of the day, it's the number 1 and number 2 seeded teams that are sitting at the end of the bracket competing for a championship.
I mean, if you think about it, seed number 1, seed number 2, just makes sense for them to tie up everything at the end of the day with this finals match up. And, with great showing from both teams, right? Both teams did not drop any match at all through this whole run, even in their Swiss stages, right? And a total just from both teams put together, they've only dropped 3 maps in total. Oh, wait, sorry. Four maps in total. So this is a pretty strong showing, right, from both teams. So it only makes sense that at the end of the day, they are facing off against each other.
Yeah, definitely the Baconeers and Blossom, the 2 undefeated teams in the Rally Rumble, will be competing today to see which one is going to be vying for that Rally Rumble championship. It's definitely going to be an interesting showing considering the sheer amount of talent on both of these rosters, Thea.
I know, and from what I've heard, there's a really good mix of new talent to the BPL scene, but also some veterans with, their own storylines. Could you tell us more about, the storylines of each of these teams, Bowsy?
Sure thing. Let's start off with the Baconeers coming in here, drafted by a rookie to the BPL scene, Lunaker, being the drafter, having multiple talented players, including the Bakery, Sinex, who was a champion in Bad Pachamari League Season 1, Crake, who was a runner-up back in Season, I believe, 4 or 5, and then a bunch of other players that are mostly unknowns. Buckethead, Flare, and Noctara are all rookies on this roster, but all of them have been showing up, especially with Flare on our Twitter feed. They've been showing up throughout the entirety of this tournament, and then you have Fiercest there on the second tank role, helping stabilize this team for the Baconeers. Overall, a pretty solid core of some veterans, and then some rookies. But then you have the side of Blossom, which, if I were to say this team is stacked, it would be an understatement. Luca was the Season 5 and Snowdown champion. They have won championships in 2 of the last 3 Bad Pachamari League events. Mac Tackle was the champion of Season 3. Wi-Fi was a role star in Season 5 and was the champion of the Beta Bash a long time ago, alongside Bocce, who was also a champion for Season 4. Everyone on this roster is stacked to the talent, and that's excluding the fact they have Fairy and Frostfire coming in as rookies, and Aura, who I have personally played with a lot over in Tranquility Gaming on Staff Pugs, and I can confirm they can pop up when it matters. So it's going to be a battle of talent here between both of these lineups.
And what better way to, get this rolling and to figure out what is this first map that these 2 teams decided to go into. Bowsy, who has pick for map between these 2 teams?
From what it said, of course, the higher seed does have map pick to start off our series. After that, it is the loser of the map that will be able to pick the next map in the series. We're starting off on Hybrid, as we have for the majority of the bracket thus far. And the first map of the series is Hollywood, chosen by the Baconeers here, Thea.
And, Hollywood, I wasn't able to get a good look at what the Baconeers threw towards what is Inspire, who made that very deep run as a 13th seed, right? Thwarted them at the end, but ultimately, there's a reason for going to Hollywood. Hollywood's filled with diverse compositions you could run, especially if you have a really good Ana player who would like to play at that high ground on top of Cafe. That's a great spot to defend. So a lot of it's going to be how do we break through that first defensive hold on Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. Hollywood is also a good map choice if you are the Baconeers. Throughout the entirety of the bracket, they have been undefeated on Hollywood. But the same can be said about their opponents. Blossom are also undefeated on Hollywood the entirety of the Rally Rumble. So no matter what they are, one of these teams is losing their first match on, or their first venture out to Hollywood here. So it's going to be interesting to see which of those teams is going to be coming out on top to keep that undefeated record on Hybrid this season.
We're talking all about records, and there will be a record destroyed in terms of winning Hollywood, right? And we look at the compositions that these teams are rolling out with, and the Baconeers have decided that for their defense, they're going to go through something very standard, right? You have your Winston with a Kiriko Lucio, so more of like a dive setup, right? And on the other side of Blossom, going for something more pokey, right? With Wi-Fi on their beat, they might have guessed that there's going to be a lot of dives on their core. Oh, are we sticking to the Zen? What is happening?
We're changing around the composition.
Oh my gosh, last 10 seconds. Okay, there we go. This is what we now expect given what they were running in the previous match, which they ultimately won at the end of the day against Crabball, right? This ball composition and some tweaks here and there, but at the end of the day, Mac Tackle's still on that wrecking ball. Let's see how the Baconeers stand up to this, because Crabball in the previous match, we're struggling.
Yeah, definitely, and so far, Blossom are getting the benefit of the better here. They are able to get rid of Bucket here with the help of the Bochi, getting rid of that early pick as Fairy tries to go for these Widowmaker shots. So far, hasn't found anything, but the Baconeers are trying to stabilize while they wait for their Cassidy now to come back into the engage. Flare on this Tracer, looking for the high ground, sees the Widowmaker in the back line, is trying to pepper out Fairy to start out. They are forced to use the recall, but the rest of Blossom are forced to kite back to the comfort of that Widowmaker to keep them alive, and that's causing the Bochi to fall, and now Mac Tackle is all alone on this island trying to get themselves out of dodge. They're booped off the high ground and are now eliminated by Flare.
A great job from the Bakery, really just watching that high ground and booping off Mac Tackle as he tries to slam back to that high ground. And that thwarts any engagement and damage that would go in to those who are in the high ground. Now we see that Flare finally has that pulse bomb, and it's a matter of who would this be a good target to put on, and I personally think that would have to be Luca.
Flare looking for that pulse bomb, tries to go in for the early dash. They throw the pulse bomb in onto the car. The car hood might be dead, but the Ana is not. Flare forced to retreat to the comfort of their team here as Blossom now have an opportunity to push in. They did lose the Bochi, but they'll be back in a second. But still, the Baconeers are trying to hold this. Fierce is pushing in here, trying to go onto that wrecking ball of Mac Tackle, and the Buckethead throwing in those hinders. Did land it onto a target, but unable to get the final blow. Fierce is continuing to hold the corners here. The Baconeers still trying to keep this under control as Mac Tackle is going to receive the Nano Boost here from Luca. The Kitsune Rush from Noctara is thrown in as well, and now Luca is removed. Wi-Fi quick to follow as Fiercich in the backline, helping taser everyone down. Make it 3 for Fiercich in this fight to keep the Baconeers on the hold.
Fiercich with a great engagement from Noctara's Kitsune Rush. Manages to play his health pool really well in the process also, right? He's still holding on to that Primal Rage, and Blossom is back to the drawing board on how they are going to engage onto this high ground. You've seen the Bochi switch over to this Tracer, right? Hoping to do pepper in more damage.
Yeah, it's going to be helpful for the Baconeers trying to make damage with that anti-grenade, but now the Primal Rage comes down and Fiercich knocks Luca right into a corner. The Blossom team now forced to retreat once again. Wi-Fi is going to be doing it the hard way as Fiercich is just running straight into the spawn doors.
Straight to the spawn doors, and with not much in their back, right, for this next engagement, but Flare manages to get a kill on the Bochi before the Bochi finds to stick on the Bakery. This is a good opening for for Blossom to enter the objective.
Baconeers down there. Lucio means that Blossom have to be fast, however, because that Lucio can run back in as quickly as possible. Mac Tackle is going to be there to try and stall it out, trying to force out Fiercich into a bad position. Fiercich goes for the dive backline, but is anti-grenaded, hindered, and slammed on by the Wrecking Ball as Blossom finally have that grand opening that they were looking for. The Baconeers now are forced to give up this point for the meanwhile. Bakery also hit by the hinder from the Bochi, dies in the middle of the cafe as now Blossom have a foothold on the subjective, and it doesn't look likely the Baconeers are going to try to go for the recontest, but Flare is actually looking for it. Josh is in to get the recontest. Buckethead having the high noon, looking for anything, but Luca finds the sleep from across the map. That's your two-time BPL champion there, coming up in the kill feed when it matters, and Mac Tackle is there to clean up the remains, and now Blossom are cleaning up the remains of the Baconeers. The overclock from Fairy is nothing more than a cherry on top of the cake that is point number 1.
Point number 1 taken by Blossom, and with the necessary switches to get onto that point, right? You see the Bochi finally switching to this Cassidy, hoping to do pepper and more damage to Fiercich, and that does a great job, right? You also see Baconeers do that same tactic with Buckethead going to Cassidy a couple of fights ago to deal with Mac Tackle, and it was garnering them a lot of help.
We'll see if the Baconeers are going to be able to hold this high ground here. Fierce is going to be initiated here with this Kitsune Rush from Noctara up on the high ground. The Bakery helping speed that Winston over as now they have full control over this bridge. Back tackle throwing the minefield into the back line here, trying to separate the members of the Baconeers, trying to get back up, but the boop is there from the Bakery to keep them out of line of sight. Fierce is forced to pop the Primal Rage as they drop extremely low. They are slept but are woken up immediately. A little power nap to keep them up in the game thus far. The Baconeers trying to continue this stabilization, but now the Bochi has this high noon online, and it's just going to separate the field here. The Baconeers forced to retreat to the courtesy of that high noon.
High Noon manages to give space for Blossom, but that doesn't stop the re-engagement as all members of Baconeers are alive.
Yeah, Baconeers have that beat as well, and Flair pops the post bomb into the Bochi. 3 kills for Flair to start off this fight. Add that to the Twitter high roll, as it's a 4K for Flair in this fight.
And Baconeers played that extremely well, right? They knew they had to hide themselves from the High Noon, and they did have the ultimates to re-engage, right? The Bakery's beat. Flair had Pulse Bomb, and those critical ults, after just giving some space, managed to re-engage and win that fight ultimately. So now coming to this next fight, Blossom doesn't really have anything on the board, but Baconeers have this High Noon to still create space for them and to buy them more time to build their other ults.
High Noon is going to be crucial. Buckethead looking for it here as the dive comes in for Mac Tackle, and Fairy's able to get rid of Noctara. Now that High Noon is coming in, and Blossom just coming straight up the elevator. That is an elevator of pain there for Buckethead as they're bashed in the face by that rallying Brigida of Wi-Fi. And now the Baconeers are forced to give up all of this high ground control, and Blossom will regain control of the cards.
Blossom regains control with an ultimate from Mac Tackle coming for the next play, right? So that means Mac Tackle has different ways to utilize the souls. That could mean blocking the doorway for Baconeers to exit, or even controlling the point, right? Forcing Baconeers to use resources just to clear out the mines. And Baconeers don't really have anything, except maybe a Buckethead killing Fairy.
Yeah, that is a good advantage here. Fairy out of the picture. Blossom, that's the closest ultimate Blossom have online. The cart not moving right now as the minefield is popped on the left side of the screen. Wi-Fi is going to be the one to push it, and Mac Tackle will be there for the support as Lucas currently shooting from on high. Debochi looking for that sort of kill here on the Cassidy. Flair on the high ground, however, is trying to pepper down the back line of the Baconeers as here comes the Kitsune Rush from the front line, and Luca is immediately shredded to bits. The Bochi of Wi-Fi are quick to follow as Blossom are falling one by one. Fairy comes back in with another kill on a Noctara, but it's not for long as they are killed out by the Primal Rage, and now Blossom are completely withered away on the cart as the Baconeers will stop that cart in the streets of Hollywood with 100 meters flat taken by the Blossom team.
Baconeers really baking their win for that second point, right? Manages to hold it off before it even reaches towards the end of second point of Hollywood, which is a great, place to leave that cart, right? You still have access to those high grounds, one from jail, one from the second building, and that's going to be a tough push for Blossom to also reach, right? As long as Baconeers take that high ground, stick to that high ground at the end of the day, maybe they could thwart that. But we'll see if Blossom at least can replicate what Baconeers did, right? And Baconeers now on the attack. We're going to see what composition they're going to run out with. Looks like they're running the same thing as they did for their defense. Same goes for Blossom. And, what I've noticed from Baconeers is that they understand when to give space and just let Blossom, take the room, right? They seem to have a better understanding of the tempo that they want to play at and when it's okay to give space. So let's see if this is something that they can replicate on their attack. But definitely Blossom have a good chance to at least hold them on first point of Hollywood, especially with this Fairy on high ground, Luca and Wi-Fi really stuck together on top of Cafe, and Ball somewhere about to wreak havoc on Baconeers.
Yeah, definitely. There is the opportunity for the Baconeers to dive that support line for Blossom and try to take advantage of that, but still, it's up on the table here as the Baconeers start walking out on their attack. Buckethead, once again on the Widowmaker, just like the Bochi was before. Mac Tackle is going to come in for the pile drive, and that Widowmaker immediately sees both supports in the Cafe and is looking to try and snipe them out. They're forced out by Mac Tackle to grapple up to the opposing high ground, and then forced out by the Disruptor Field from Fairy, but they're still looking for the shots. The Buckethead could initiate this first engage as Fiercest goes in for that dive and immediately gets rid of Wi-Fi. A good start so far for the Baconeers, but they've lost their Widowmaker to the hands of the Bochi. But the Baconeers are still on the objective and are starting to count up the percentage. Mac Tackle on the low ground trying to keep themselves alive in that ball form, but they are not long for this world. They are able to get rid of Noctara with a little bit of a bowling maneuver, but now Blossom are starting to fall apart. The Bakery gets rid of the Bochi, and Blossom look like they don't want to hold this anymore.
can't hold it anymore, especially now that you see Buckethead switch off of that Widowmaker fight, getting that initial value that they were looking for, and now sticking onto this Cassidy. Cassidy, a great way to deal with the ball just rolling through the background. As much as, we hate the whole, what do you call this? Oh gosh, I forget the term. But anyways, Hinder, such a great cooldown to use, especially against a ball, and MacTackle understands that his job is to force it out of Buckethead with that engagement.
We'll see MacTackle is able to do exactly that as Blossom set up on the high ground. Baconeers trying to continue pushing his card and stay away from line of sight as possible. Flair's just going to be hiding behind the car, doing a little bit of tailgating as they're forced out by the Disruptor Field to use their recall. But meanwhile, MacTackle's on the back line, and Luca's able to get rid of Noctara in the meanwhile, so Blossom are able to make use of this sort of attempt that they're using with Debochi and MacTackle going to the back line. Debochi will lose their life for it, but still, the Baconeers are forced to try and reconcile for the next fight.
I mean, not bad of a trade. That just means there's less pressure on the backline of Baconeers, and that gives Noctara time to come back. But
oh no, that's an Ajax from the Bakery to try and counter the mines. MacTackle sends them up into the air, and the Bakery does not land on the ground. The Baconeers lose a beat and lose the fight.
I mean, that's gotta hurt, right? Like, you understand what the Bakery was trying to do at that one moment. It just so happened that wherever he landed, there was a mine, right? And that doesn't really matter at the end of the day. You force out mines, but that means you have this really good Kitsune rush coming from Baconeers, and that's such a great fight engagement too, especially if they decide to take this high ground from Blossom, which is where the supports are.
Fierce is shaking at high ground. Noctara is able to use the Kitsune rush, but is their dying wish as they're picked out of the sky by Fairy, who pops the overclock and burns Fierce's to a crisp, courtesy of Wi-Fi's bash as well, as Blossom are continuing to hold this card at the streets of Hollywood so far. We'll have to see what Baconeers are planning for the next engage, though.
Baconeers will just have to force out ults from Blossom, is how I see it, right? You're going to have the Pulse Bomb from Debochi, you're going to have both support ults, and that Brig ult's very strong, especially if Fierceage decides to just dive on them. That's an instant melt if they don't play that properly. And you can see that Baconeers are trying to set up for that engagement.
Baconeers send up to the high ground. High Noon from Buckethead to try and force out the members of Blossom, and the Debochi is already bested by Flair, but another Sleep Dart from Luca cancels out the Buckethead's High Noon, and they're so mad they've turned into right-click Randy, trying to get anybody with the fan the hammer, but so far have found nothing. The Primal Rage also used here from Fierce is trying to force off Blossom off the high ground. Meanwhile, the card steadily approaching that golden box of victory. Blossom need to try and find something here, but Fairy's already taken out of the equation. The Pulse Bomb lands on the Fierces, but it's not a final blow, and Flair is once again lighting up the kill feed. Both supports dead on the side of the Baconeers. MacTackle forced to use that minefield to try and keep the members off, but it's going to be all for naught as the Baconeers continue their undefeated streak on Hollywood, winning the first map of the series.
And that was such a great last fight engage from Baconeers, right? They understood they only had two ultimates on their bank, which happened to be Primal Rage and at High Noon. Understanding maybe how Blossom's tank wanted to play, just utilize that, hey, that's High Noon the high ground from a distance. They really can't do anything with the support ults, and let's see where it goes from there. It really went to a win towards Baconeers at the end of the day. But Blossom did have a really good showing of what they can do to deal with the aggression, right? Maybe a few tweaks here and there on how they're going to do with the engagement, and that would be something they could work on, right? At the end of the day, though, Blossom lose their win streak on Hollywood. Baconeers ultimately taking that, full clean win on Hollywood.
Yeah, definitely. The Baconeers coming out with a statement on what has arguably been their best map throughout the entirety of the Rally Rumble playoffs, so no surprise that they would try to pick it here to get themselves into advantage, but now the Blossom has been put in a situation that they haven't been in since the final match of the Swiss stage. They have to choose a map here, Thea. Again, it's hard to believe that's exactly what's going to be the case, but nonetheless, Blossom do get to choose their second map of the entirety of the Rally Rumble. They've never been able to choose a map outside of being the higher seed in these matches, so it's going to be interesting to see what map they want to choose here as we head over to Flashpoint next year, Thea. Do they go for Saravasa, or do they try... Or actually, no, not push. Not Flashpoint, push. I'm a little tired, but nonetheless, it's basically the same. One extra map. You have New Queen Street, Colosseo, and Esperanza. So what map would be in their favorite position to try and play here?
I'm thinking about it on the case for Blossom, and I've taken a look at it, and apparently one of their matches where they had the choice of map, right? They did not pick a push map. There was a time during the Swiss stages where teams were instead picking escort maps instead of push maps. But with not much data and just looking at what tank they want to play, right? You see that there's this preference for ball. I'm thinking you probably could get value from that new Queen Street just because there's so many angles and engagements you could go through, right? Or you could see, I called it, right?
There you
New
go.
Queen Street, right? New Queen Street.
Didn't have to say anything past that.
Yeah. See,
New Queen Street is the map choice here for Blossom as they head over to this map. Interestingly, you see the stats. Obviously, the Buccaneers have only lost one push map all season. That was up against that was on their first match of the bracket, which was up against Double Bread. So that was the only push map that they've lost all season. But again, Blossom have been undefeated on this map type all season. So why not just go to the map that you have a better record on compared to the other, with a 2-0 compared to 1-0 on Colosseo. But New Queen Street is the map choice here for the side of Blossom. We'll have to see what compositions they decide to run out here, Thea, and what they're going to try to change to try and get that map victory in their hands and tie up the series.
I mean, if you think about it, they are looking so strong in New Queen Street, so it only makes sense for them to go to New Queen Street at the end of the day. 2-0 record versus a 1-0 in Colosseo. But you also have to think about it. If you're so insistent, if Mac Tackle is this insistent on playing the ball composition for Blossom, you have to pick a map type where this is enabled the best. And I personally view New Queen Street as the most ball-enabled map from all the push maps, right? Probably second in my opinion, might have been Esperanza. Who knows? But just because of how much high grounds, areas where you could maneuver, change sight lines, right? It's such a great ball map, and you see that they will still run that same composition with some changes to their support line. Buccaneers, tried and true. We won with this comp on Hollywood. We're going to stick to it to New Queen Street.
Yeah, we'll see if these compositions are going to play favor to one team or the other. Take a look at Frost here, who's actually subbing in this map for Fairy after Fairy played on Hollywood. So Frost now playing for Blossom. We'll see if they're going to be able to pop up on the Sojourn as much as Fairy was able to on that last map, as the bot now unlocks. Flare is there to try and touch it for the side of the Buccaneers. But Frost is still looking for the value here to try and shoot anything in sight, but so far has only been able to find brick walls. But their teammate Mac Tackle is able to get rid of Buckethead to start off, so now the Sojourn from the enemy team is removed. And now Blossom have that little bit of an advantage. Fierce is just not going to take no for an answer, though. They're still trying to push forward on this Winston, trying to push forward into the backline of Blossom as Flare is there to try and pressure them out on this Tracer once again. 88% already to a Pulse Bomb compared to the Bochi's 68. Flare is building up these Pulse Bombs at record pace, but they're also building up a death percentage, getting killed out by Luca in the middle of that engage. Their Pulse Bomb as well was a whiff, so far, while it's a stagnate at the point, Blossom are coming out on top. Now with that pile drive landing on the Buckethead, and with Noctara, not long for this world.
Great push and pull, and Blossom just showing that let's give some space for Buccaneers to maybe push that bot. I think something that Buccaneers was thinking would be their priority, and just take it back from them with Buckethead really struggling to stay alive against the Mac Tackle's ball. And in this next fight, you're going to see a lot of ults pop up like the Bochi's Pulse Bomb, which, well stuck, I think might have been Suzu'd by Noctara.
Yeah, definitely was Suzu by Noctara. Great play there from the Kiriko, but that means that it opens the potential for Blossom to get picks off like that. Mac Tackle getting rid of the bakery here, so the Buccaneers are down their speed boost. The Bochi, however, is not going to take no for an answer. They are hit by a railgun, forced to recall, but are still looking for Buckethead in the backline. Mac Tackle also in the gym, trying to flex their muscles and flex their ability to blight up the kill feed as the Bochi trying to continue peppering down the members of the Buccaneers. Flare is melee back to spawn, and Mac Tackle comes up with 2 more, making 3 in this fight for the Wrecking Ball on the side of Blossom.
And that really strong engagement from Blossom's support line, right? Especially as the setting up of Mac Tackle merits them this first butt scratch on New Queen Street. Now, Buccaneers do have this overclock coming in with no beat to counter it. So I'm most likely going to be guessing Mac Tackle is going to try to force this Buckethead into a corner, which happens to be the high ground.
Yep, that high ground positioning is where they force them. They force out the beat from the bakery, and now Flare is immediately removed by the Cassidy. Buckethead has to come up big here with this overclock as the high noon is popped from Frost and trying to force them away. But once again, the bakery is removed, and Fiercest and Buckethead not long for this world either as Blossom continue their steamroll through New Queen Street.
There's the steamroll is doing a lot of work for Blossom, right? Baconeers haven't really found an answer to this rolling of Blossom, and not much ult on the board except for Flare's Pulse Bomb, which could get some value if they maybe landed on a support or maybe even Mac Tackle itself, right? Let's see where it's going to be headed.
We'll see what Flair is able to do with this Pulse Bomb. They've been able to do great things in this matchup before, and great things throughout the entirety of the Rally Rumble. But as I say that, their Pulse Bomb is a complete whiff, and now their tank is out of the picture. The Hinder does land on the Wi-Fi, but Buckethead is now removed as well, as Blossom are still continuing to steamroll piece by piece. They are breaking apart the Baconeers.
Oh my gosh, they're leaving no crumbs behind, and at the end of the day, they still have ult on the board. And this is going to be a huge ult. Baconeers probably going to try to get this Kitsune Rush on board, but with Flare down, that's going to be extra trouble. Blossom holding them at the spawn doors at this rate.
Yeah, definitely Blossom just touching the spawn doors. Mac Tackle just barely able to get out after being hit with the right hit click Randy from Frost. They use that grapple rate track to get themselves all the way up to the high ground to pile drive on top of the members of the Baconeers, and the mines from them are just cleaning up the field. Blossom, nothing contesting them from full capping here on New Queen Street, as there is no answer from the side of the Baconeers. Half of the map didn't even go by before Blossom fully capped New Queen Street and tied up the series.
That was a match less than 5 minutes, Bowsy, and that goes to show what I mean by New Queen Street is such a strong map for Wrecking Ball. So Blossom just gave us a textbook understanding of how to play the Wrecking Ball on New Queen Street with the team, right? Going from different angles, creating disruption, and ultimately getting your Tracer and even your supports that enabling so that they can get the kills. And even though Mac Tackle was on the kill feed for most of that, right, he gave the room for all his teammates to put in the damage.
Yeah, definitely a lot of potential there for Mac Tackle, just being able to constantly disrupt the enemy team and consistently find value. Even if it wasn't in the kill feed, they were constantly setting up all of these engages for Blossom to just pounce on the Baconeers and devour them throughout the entirety of that map here. So now the Baconeers have seen what Blossom are capable of here after a dominant New Queen Street, but there is a halftime break that both of these teams will get, so the Baconeers have an opportunity to rekindle themselves before map number 3, and Blossom have an opportunity to think about what their strategy is going to be to try and continue this steamroll that they had on New Queen Street to try and sweep the rest of the series. Don't go anywhere. The Rally Rumble Grand Finals will continue after this quick halftime break. Things are heating up here in the Rally Rumble Grand Finals between the number 1 and the number 2 seed. Ironically, also taking the number 1 and number 2 maps correspondingly. The Baconeers took map number 1, but Blossom bounced back with a dominant showing on New Queen Street to take map number 2. Bowsy here with Thea as we're heading into map number 3 here. It is the Flashpoint map choice here for the side of the Baconeers, and they've chosen to bring us to New Junk City.
New Junk City, and that's one map apparently Blossom has not played this whole tournament. So it would be interesting to see how they respond to this map pick by Baconeers, but it makes full sense only because if we're expecting a ball composition from Blossom moving forward, that just means how do we have balls have a bit of a harder time making those big play moves, right? The slams, the roll throughs, right? How do we have the ball cause less disruption? And if there's more things to bump into, which might be the case of New Junk City with all its junk to bump into, that's a good pick, right? If you're thinking about it strategically. But we'll have to see how Blossom is going to respond to that.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting to see. Of course, we saw the ball not work as much on Hollywood, which was a much more closed-in map, compared to Queen Street, where that map is completely open. The ball was able to roll through every single corner and get all the value necessary. Now we're going to a map similar again to Hollywood, which is New Junk City. So we're going to see if it's going to work here for the Baconeers. Interesting to note, as we looked at those map stats earlier, the Baconeers have lost New Junk City once. That was up against Scotland in the quarterfinals, but they have it's the only map that they played on Flashpoint all season. Their opponents are undefeated, but only on Suravasa, so it makes sense to go to a map where you are more comfortable on compared to the map that your opponents are much more comfortable on and have only dropped at most 1 point every time they played it. So, as we head over to New Junk City, we'll have to see what these two teams are planning to bring out to the table here, Thea, and based on the spawn rooms, they are probably not what you would expect if you saw the first half of this matchup.
I mean, just saying, this makes strategic sense in having to change composition, specifically maybe for Baconeers if you're expecting to dive onto maybe Brawly or tags, but it looks like Blossom sticking to their old ways, saying, hey, Mac Tackle's really good with the Wrecking Ball, we're going to stick to it, see how it's going to create value for the team, and it looks like they are trying to set up already with damage being peppered in already on Baconeers.
Yeah, most notable change for the Baconeers, however, is Synex, as you see here, switching over here, filling in for Fierceish. So now you have this Doomfist player of Synex trying to charge into the back line and already getting so pressured out. But meanwhile, the rest of their team is able to clean up effectively. Buckethead gets rid of the Bochi to start off this engage, but Synex removed from the fight immediately, courtesy of Wi-Fi. And the supports for the side of Blossom are starting to pop up in the kill feed, but it's the Baconeers coming out on top with the cleanup here from their DPS.
Right, every support of Blossom will have to turn for that Doomfist, right? You don't want those punches being charged up, but also you don't want to get punched by them. And you can see that distracts them from the ultimate goal of peppering down on the the core of Baconeers, and that ultimately merits the point for Baconeers. Now you see this engagement between the Tracers. Never mind.
I mean, it was an engagement for a second there. Wi-Fi, unfortunately, was the farthest of the engagement, unlike their tank, and they were unfortunately picked out there by Buckethead for using that focusing beam to beam them down, and Luca is caught up by the remnants of the Pulse Bomb after the cleansing season kept Frost alive. The Baconeers have found their footing again here, Thea.
Yeah, and with great understanding, right? Mac Tackle having a bit of a harder time engaging on the core of Baconeers, especially with, if you play in maybe tighter rooms, closer rooms, it's harder to just roll through and maybe slam onto them. So, great job with this map pick selection, and Blossom might as well just give up the point to Baconeers, but it looks like Mac Tackle wants it, but it's not enough.
Nope, the boop is there from the bakery to keep Mac Tackle off the objective here, so Blossom are forced to give up the arena. But now we're heading over to the junkyard, and based on that overhead, Thea, which team do you think is gonna benefit from it?
Blossom. Here's the thing. This is that one point of Flash of New Junk City where there's a bunch of high grounds where you get 3 slams, and that's a copy on Elusho, which would give more HP and hopefully a beat for Baconeers.
Buckethead has to unleash their inner Reddit Lucio, and instead they release their inner Poofa Ajaxing, and then dying to the hands of Frost. Blossom now have an advantage for their own here as the Baconeers are trying to keep themselves sustained. Cynics trying to just hold themselves on the edge. They're looking for the punch onto Frost, who's just right-click landing them back into the spawn door and giving Blossom the objective.
Man, we really throwing Poofa some strays over here with that reference, right? Also, fortunately, Poofa, you are now the no name for Ajax for this stream. Now, coming to this next fight, Baconeers do have that Kitsune Rush and the Pulse Bomb if they can build onto it. So, you know, hoping for this active engage from Baconeers, but here, High Noon may stop them if they... This is what stops them instead.
Yep, Frost is just popping up in the kill feed, finding a 2-tap into the bakery. They'll get hit, they'll get Flare as well. The Pulse Bomb even misses from the Stellar Tracer player for the Baconeers. Cynics even uses their Meteor Strike to try and get rid of the competition. They do get rid of Wi-Fi. Mac Tackle is also removed. Now both Kitsune Rushes used in tandem here, but it's going to be the Baconeers coming off on top with Buckethead finding 2.
Great understanding from Baconeers that it is a fair 3v3, except they have a tank. Blossom does not have a tank during that fight, and ultimately, while both Kitsune Rushes were popped, Baconeers gets value with theirs at the end of the day. You can see now Blossom's Mac Tackle trying to set up, but is scouted out by the bakery and must, you know, rush away and wait for more time to set up.
Yeah, forced to use that adaptive shield to keep themselves alive here. Cynics now charging into the side of the Baconeer, the side of Blossom. Frost uses the High Noon, but now both beats are popped by Wi-Fi and the bakery. Thankfully, no Ajaxes on the field thus far, but the bakery is killed out in the aftermath as they are forced onto the objective by the rest of Blossom, who are now taking all of the space here that they need. Frost is getting pressured out, but is getting supported by the rest of their team, and now the Buckethead is back on the Lucio duplicate, trying to keep the rest of their team alive. They will get killed out for their efforts here, but still they are just cleaning up the field here. Wi-Fi removed by Frost, and Buckethead down, shot out of the sky by this Wrecking Ball of Mac Tackle as Blossom trying to look for this recontest. Mac Tackle comes in with the mines, lands it right onto the objective, and triggers that overtime wick to burn as Flare, stuck in the wrong end of the point, recalls back into the minefield and gets bowled over by Mac Tackle. Blossom now in a great position to try and clap this objective, but the Baconeers are still looking to try and cap it for their own, and the bakery is removed immediately by the pile drive from Mac Tackle, combined with the Bochi cleaning them up. Blossom still looking to cap the objective, and they will after that bowl over on Noctara.
You know, great trades of ultimates from both sides. And, you know, Buckethead has been copying this Lucio, but it has been giving additional value for sustain for Baconeers, right? Especially when they're down a person. But next fight, someone has to touch. And with Flare with this Pulse Bomb, great easy target would probably be this Cassidy or one of the supports if they're split off from everyone else on their team.
Well, it's going to be desperation here for the Baconeers to even get to the objective as the bakery is shot out by Frost. Cynics trying to go for the backline here on this Doomfist as they use the Meteor Strike to try and turn the tide. But now Buckethead is removed as well, and Blossom are now in prime position to take this objective for their own. But not all said and done yet. Cynics is still on this objective, but now with Noctara gone, all that's left is the bakery just skating back in, and they're punched to death by the Bochi. Cynics also misses their punch, gets a Pulse Bomb to the face, and is burnt down by the Tracer of Blossom as they take their first point on New Junk City.
As expected, just given how these high grounds work on that point of New Junk City, that just means there's more value for Mac Tackle to get from the ball. And with this change also to a Cassidy, I think, unless they were Cassidy prior, which really helps deal with the dives from Cynics. And this next fight, though, I think it might actually just go in better favor for Baconeers.
Yeah, just because of the closed-in space of the refinery. Not to mention the fact that you've already got the kill on the Mac Tackle. It means Baconeers have a very good opportunity to hold, but they did lose the bakery in the middle of that engage. So now the Baconeers have to play safe with only that Kiriko to their name, but now they have that Kitsune Rush initiated here from Noctara and are pushing the W key straight into the enemy spawn doors as they will cap the refinery.
They had lost the bakery early. That just means there's a copy for Buckethead to just copy another Lucio. But hey, this time they're copying a Tracer to stay alive.
Yeah, the Tracer copied here for Buckethead as they try to combo with Flare, but Flare is removed immediately. And Blossom are chasing down Cynics, trying to get rid of that Doomfist. Buckethead has this Pulse Bomb in line. They go for the Kobe, but it's a complete whiff as they're killed out by Flare in the duplicate and are trying to, or not by Flare, by Frost in the duplicate. They do get the revenge kill, but are forced to concede the points.
But hey, next fight, you do have this beat from the bakery. and then beat also on the side of Wi-Fi. So this could go on anyone's way. But if the Cynics manages to get that Doom ult during that next mid fight, that's a great way to just take a breather, come back in, and re-engage. But if the Bochi gets a pick before that, then just back to the drawing board for Baconeers.
Cynics going in for the dive, immediately gets hindered by that Cassidy, but now it's punching Frost into the wall. But every single sort of support is coming in for that Cassidy. It's like a pocket mercy right now, keeping Frost alive until Cynics has something to say about it. They punch Luca into the wall, but are forced to die to the hands of Wi-Fi. But now the cleanup is there from Flare, helping get rid of all the members of Blossom one by one, as with the Bochi falling, it's the Baconeers taking the cap back.
Frost had no reason to survive that long in that tiny corridor with the Doom, but ultimately the beat from Wi-Fi and even just the sustain and the booping away, it helped him stay alive. And while he did die at the end of the day, it was a long enough fight that a couple of ults were popped. But hey, we do have this mines, and it might be popped on the field as expected.
Back tackle using the mines on the point to try and keep the members of the Baconeers away. Cynics dropping extremely low, and the bucket head once again removed out of the fight by Debochi. Back tackle over in a corner, shot out by every single member of the Baconeers as now is removed from the fight. As now the Baconeers have an opportunity to re-engage. Cynics coming back onto the objective, and they're punching Flare into a wall as they continue right-click Randy and staying alive through every single bit of it. This Cassidy cannot die!
Cassidy the Frost showing what it is to be a Cassidy on Blossom and providing so much value, just staying alive, peppering all that damage, even through the I guess problematic right clicks. But now we have this next point, and with MacTackle already setting it up, we're seeing that engagement come soon with maybe a copy from Buckethead.
Buckethead giving copy over to the Cassidy here, trying to best Frost in their own game. Both Kitsune Rush is also capped here as Frost goes for the Deadeye. Isn't able to get any final blows, but is able to force out that duplicate from Buckethead. But still, only a lot of wounds until MacTackle is beamed down by the focusing beam from Buckethead, back in that Echo form. And Flare makes a beautiful tracking shot to get rid of Wi-Fi in midair. And now the Baconeers have that as an opportunity to push right onto this objective and take it for their own first.
It looks like there's a stagger on the Bochi, and that fight, I think Frost he did have that high move, was also stuck by Flare's Pulse Bomb, who, by the way, Flare is already close to another Pulse Bomb right after just throwing that in. So we'll be seeing a lot of ults on the board for this incoming fight, but maybe a beat versus beat coming in for this next fight, with Wi-Fi building towards it and the bakery also.
Oh, but already Blossom are down there, Lucio, to start off the fight here. MacTackle is going to be able to stall out the objective here and force someone from the Baconeers to touch to keep the point contested. Cynics using the Meteor Strike as well, but Blossom are immediately retreating without their Lucio in tow.
But their problem is they do not have a Lucio, so they don't have anything to speed themselves out. And you could see MacTackle trying to create value for the team, but it's being stopped by the Bakery, who still has this beat online. So it's either they use it this fight, or the point is lost if they don't get the picks. I think Blossom just need to regroup at this one moment.
Yeah, definitely. They have to regroup, especially with losing 2 in that fight late here. You see Buckethead moving back. They were the only casualty on the side of the Baconeers here, as Blossom are going to be able to touch the point, courtesy of MacTackle with their minefield on the edge. Blossom now trying to push in as Flare, 1 health to the name, barely able to grab that health back before they're hit by a kunai from Luca. Now the beats come out from both sides. Wi-Fi initiates first, as now Blossom are still trying to cap this objective in their favor. A beautiful cleansing Sousa there from Luca to land right onto the ball of MacTackle, but the Baconeers are still in control, and they still are looking for the advantage in this fight. Here comes the duplicate from Buckethead back onto the Cassidy, but they've lost their Kiriko in the midst of the fight. Buckethead has to come up big here, but they are unable to land any of their shots, and now their Lucio's gone as well, as the Sticky Bombs will get rid of Frost, but the point is flipped over for the side of Blossom.
Blossom has to keep this point for them to, take the map pick of Baconeers, right, from them. And they do have ults on the board to, cycle through and prepare them for this next fight. You do have this Pulse Bomb from the Bochi, which, if you can get it on Doctara early on, force out Suzu, that may pressure out the Kiriko Rush.
Pulse Bomb comes out. Doesn't land on anybody, just lands in the middle of the field, and Bochi's going to be costing their life for it as well. They're burned down by Flair and Cynic, who charge right after them. Buckethead, however, is removed, courtesy of the hinder from Frost, and the Kitsune Rush is now here from Noctara to try and bring the Baconeers back into this engage. Flair cleans up Frost, and now is looking for their next target as they continue to try and clean up the field. But Mac Tackle goes to the back line and gets rid of Noctara, and the Bakery is removed as well. Flair has to come up big here right now on this Tracer. They have to make another big high rate reel, but Cynics is also removed, as is Flair, and the Blossom are in position to take this map.
Oh my gosh, there were so many win conditions that Baconeers had that, it just dropped the ball when the counter dive of Blossom was so much stronger, and that just merits Blossom this point. New Junction City showing that the ball still provides some great value to them when understanding what their win condition is. And at that last fight, it just so happened it was the backline trades, with the backline of Blossom just lasting way longer than the backline of Baconeers. So great job, and Baconeers back on the drawing board on what map they are going to pick for the 4th.
And now Blossom have put themselves as well into match point here, Thea. One more map and they are declared the champions here after cementing yet another record on Flashpoint. They have basically been undefeated on Flashpoint the entirety of the season, and every single instance they have only dropped one single point across the entirety of the map. So a very good effort here from Blossom, showing their dominance, but now the cards are back in Baconeers' favor. As you mentioned, they have to choose the control map for this series, which is a very daunting task, considering that their opponents it's a very daunting task, and also one that could play in your favor, but you have to be careful about it, Thea. I say that because before this match, Blossom only had one map loss on control. So if this map doesn't work for the Baconeers, not only are they sacrificing the championship, they are definitely in trouble.
I mean, you could say that they did lose their control map, right? This is Blossom we're talking about, right? So that's just room for learning improvement, right? And maybe since you lost on that specific map type, right? Or a specific map in that map type, maybe just don't go to that map. Like pick a different map in the pool than the one you lost, and maybe it changes into your favor. Play to your strengths. Seems like Blossom is understanding that, and it's really Baconeers. Wait, I'm rambling up.
I was saying Blossom lost the map. Blossom lost the control map. So
yeah. So honestly, maybe Baconeers goes to that map. Who knows? But I think Baconeers just needs to go to something that's probably their strengths, and then understand that and just run it through Blossom by understanding maybe what is their win condition and who they should be targeting for each of the maps.
it's definitely going to be interesting to see if Baconeers have what it takes to take that control map here. Interesting to note that control map in question here, Thea, is also the only other control map that Blossom have played all season, and that's Lijiang Tower. Now, that's not the map choice here from Baconeers. I'm just going to make that clear right now until I get word from my producer. I'm just saying this. But Lijiang Tower is the map that the Baconeers have basically been undefeated on all season. They won it twice in this bracket stage, and they won it twice at least in the Swiss stage. So, I mean, that seems like the safe pick. Why
and
am I not
with
surprised?
safety. They go with safety. And
Why not?
That is strategically a sound choice, right? You go to what you are comfortable with, and maybe just don't overcomplicate things, right? Even though, hey, this might be a better map to bring this team against because it's a bad kind of ball map, it doesn't always work that way, because if they're a really good ball player, like Mac Attack has been showing, you don't think of it as in that way. You just think of it as, what am I good at? And that happens to be, hey, we were doing well in Lijiang Tower. Just like your background, we go to Lijiang Tower.
Yeah, so definitely we'll have to see if Lijiang Tower is going to work here for the Bakery. Again, this is a map that they are basically almost undefeated on all season. This is also the only control map that Blossom have lost all season. They're 2-1 on control. This is the only map they have not won on. It's also the only map that, if my calculations are correct, yes they are, it's the only map they've never taken a point on this entire season. So if there's any map to choose, it's the map that your team, your enemy team, looks the weakest on throughout the entirety of the series. By the way, the team that they lost this map to in the Swiss stage, which was Lijiang Tower, the only team they lost to, Militarum, which was eliminated in the round of 16. What does that tell you?
Luck? I don't know, like, if it's coincidentally that your good map for Baconeers is Lijiang Tower, and Blossom, the only map they've played happens to be that Lijiang Tower, and they lost to Militarum. Cards are in your favor, right? And it's just understanding what made Blossom lose in that specific map, and then maybe replicating it. And let's see if Baconeers can do just that to keep their chance at winning the Rally Rumble still in their pocket, because they do have to win this map in order to reach that map 5.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a challenge here for the side of the Baconeers, because they have to win this map in order to keep themselves alive and bring us to a crucial map number 5. Blossom, however, there are less stakes on the table. You have to win either this map or the next map to win the championship here. So Blossom has a lot less on the table. But let's see if they're still able to turn it around here, Thea, because again, this is the map that Blossom have lost. There is the potential that they could reverse the script and take it into their favor to then take the entire series for their own. It's going to be interesting to see what the plan is going to be here from Blossom, what they decide to run on, if we're still going to see this Wrecking Ball composition that has been their tried and true bread and butter this entire match here, or if we're going to see something different.
I mean, if you think about it, losses are a great space to learn what needs to be fixed. And if the game plan is still running with a ball on Lijiang Tower, and then you happen to lose with that specific composition before, I may not have seen the match, I don't know what they ran there, but if it is what we are seeing right now and they still stick to the ball, it is just learning then, how are we going to still use this ball character without making the mistakes we did against Militarum, right? That is something Blossom have to figure out, and hopefully they are starting to figure it out right now. And it looks like the reason that Baconeers is holding this up slightly is because they're making some tank switches. Is that what I am seeing?
I believe that is what I see. Fierceish coming back in for Sinix. Fierceish, of course, was a part of the lineup for the first 2 maps. Sinix, mostly known as a Doomfist specialist. No offense, Sinix, I know you're watching this. Comes in for New Junk City because they wanted to implement that Doomfist strategy. So we'll see if Fierceish is going to make a difference. We've mostly been seeing them on this Winston throughout the entirety of the series. So we'll see if they're going to be going back to that Winston composition, or we could see them on something else to try and get themselves into an advantageous position here, as we're still waiting for the lobby to begin here to head into our 4th map of the series. So we'll see what these changes are going to make here for the side of the Baconeers.
I mean, if you're thinking about it, a Winston composition on Lijiang Tower makes complete sense. It's been tried, tested, and true, so not so much wrong with like sticking to what you are familiar with, what you know how to implement really well. So Fierceish coming in for Sinix is, something that Baconeers do need. Now it's really just a matter of, will it still make a difference? Hey, it made a difference in Hollywood. Maybe they just need that spark from Hollywood to get things rolling again, just so we could see maybe a map 5 from these 2 teams.
As we head into Lijiang Tower here, our 4th map of the series, and what could very well be our final one if Blossom are able to seal the deal here. As we load into Control Center first here, Thea, no surprise to see what Blossom are running. They're back on the Wrecking Ball, but the Baconeers, I don't know if it's gonna be this comp that they're running, but right now Fierceish is sowing the Mauga.
I mean, if you're planning to pop up with a Symmetra, maybe it's going to work, maybe it's not. The Mochi just is sticking to that Junkrat, which is what they've shown before. And they are coming out with this, oh my gosh, Mauga, right, for Baconeers. And I guess with this tight space, such as Control Center, it makes sense. So we'll see if this Cardiac will help enable Baconeers, especially with all this damage coming in from the Junkrat, with the new damage addition from these primary fires, which are the bane of my existence.
Yeah, Junkrat having that new damage buff in the recent patch means that they are much more lethal in these close spaces and are once again able to two-tap targets. But it doesn't even matter when you have someone like MacTackle just continually in the background and bowling over your opponents, as now Noctara taken out of the equation. Buckethead quick to follow, and while Fierceish will find the kill on their adversary in the tank roll, it's still Blossom taking control first.
Fierceish does need to regroup because he is so low with no Curie to kill them up, and unfortunately Flare seems to have run into the Bochi's trap, having to fully reset Baconeers from the start. Point goes to Blossom with 18% on the board and a tire incoming. I think that's the first ult on the board, and that just goes to show the Bochi has done so much damage for this team. Or maybe the buff has. Who knows? Maybe it's the buff.
Tire comes out from the Bochi to try and go into the backline as Flare is already removed, and they go straight for the side of the Baconeers. The Buckethead and Noctara are burst into flames as they are killed out by that Rip Tire.
The bakery knowing it's all gone, nothing to be baking, so let's just go back to spawn, wait for everyone else, and not give any ult charge to Blossom. Blossom, though, do have that Wrecking Ball ult, and that's just going to thwart all of them, especially now that MacTackle is just hanging from the ceiling with this new ball rework in action.
Yeah, being able to just hang around, not having your claw retract unless you go into fireball mode, is MacTackle just waiting there, standing like a chandelier up in the sky until they pile down with the minefield right on top of Noctara's Kitsune Rush. Bakery forced you to keep the rest of their team alive as Flare is looking for value in the backline. The Pulse Bomb does come out and burns the Bochi, but they sacrifice their life for it. MacTackle there to try and stall the point as Buckethead now unleashes the High Noon to keep the rest of Blossom off the objective so that the Baconeers can start counting the percentage.
Oh gosh, that's it's good trade though from the Tracer and the Junk on both teams, and this next fight does have the cage, and I don't think there's an answer to it, and more so no answer to it if your Cassidy has been dinked into the head by Buckethead.
Yeah, Buckethead popping up on the kill feed here as Fierceish trying to push forward into the Junkrat of the Bochi. Thinks better of it, but now Noctara once again removed here by MacTackle, so the Baconeers have to act fast here if they want to keep themselves alive in this fight. Blossom are prepared to re-engage. MacTackle looking for the backline as the Kitsune Rush comes out from Luca. Fierceish forced to sit on the objective, waiting for their next move, and their next move is to just completely retreat and set up for the next engage.
I mean, that is the smart thing to do. Noctara dies pretty early in that fight. There's no sustain for your Mauga, especially if he has ult, right? You want that Kiri to be alive if he decides to ult. And with a tire from the Bochi, let's see if he picks someone. And a great Suzu stops it.
Yep, the tire doesn't get anything, but Flare is booped off the map, and now Fierceish forced to use the cage fight. They trap MacTackle in it, but the beat from Wi-Fi keeps them alive. No Ajax for Wi-Fi this time. Deadeye from Buckethead will land onto the Bochi as Blossom are continuing to try and keep themselves alive. Frost comes out with the Deadeye, doesn't land on anything, but the damage is still being done as they slow everyone into a corner, and MacTackle cleans them up here on the Wrecking Ball. Flare's back to try and contest here, but they're forced to just accept to the pain as now Fierceish booped out of the point courtesy of those mines, and Blossom take their first point on Lijiang Tower and go to match point.
It's match point, but it just happens to be unlucky, right? If you're thinking about which maps on Lijiang Tower probably enable a ball composition the best, it just so happens it's Control Center, and that's the first round you enter into for Lijiang Tower. That just means it's an uphill battle for Baconeers, and it looks like they're making the necessary changes, hoping that Buckethead on maybe the Sombra might make that huge difference against MacTackle's ball, which has been doing a lot of damage, right? Understanding where teams would end up clustering around if there's a High Noon or whatever ult is popped up. And so maybe the Sombra change is the answer, but Gardens might actually be a good place to start and, you know, take this back into their control for Baconeers.
It's been 4 maps, but Baconeers have finally unleashed the Sombra. They are done with this ball nonsense, but are now trying to counter it. But now Fierceish is removed from the fight immediately before it even begins, and now Buckethead, in a world of hurt, teleporting over to the other end of the map as they're booped off the map by Wi-Fi, and Blossom open up the point with a grand victory.
Oh, that is such great melting of Fierceish, and Blossom understanding that, hey, it is a Sombra. The Sombra's goal is trying to get a hack on this ball. Let's just melt everyone else before that. There's less damage on the side of Baconeers with Buckethead on the Sombra compared to maybe a Cassidy damage, even especially with those strikelets. And it just goes to show with how quickly Fierceish is, you know, losing HP.
As Baconeers try to make their re-engage. Mac Tackle just continuing to pepper the backline. They get hacked out here by Buckethead once again, but are not at the safety of their team, so they'll get killed out here. Now Blossom down their tank, and now Wi-Fi hacked out on the Lucio, forcing out that Cleansing Suzu from Luca to get them unhacked. But now Frost getting booped off the map by the Bakery. Goodbye to the Cowboy, as now the Baconeers trying to take this map, this point for their own. Bakery finding 2 in this fight, looking for a third onto Wi-Fi. He'll get cleaned up by Fiercich instead. Mac Tackle's back to try and contest, but the rest of the Baconeers are just piling right on top of that hamster.
Great engagement, right? See, that's the thing. If Mac Tackle goes too far in trying to like pressure out a backline of Baconeer, and there's a Sombra watching that said backline, it's going to be harder to get out if everyone from the core of Baconeers is focusing on him. And that is exactly what happened. You lose your ball, you're losing the chaos, that means you're losing opportunities to get picks onto the Baconeers on the side of Blossom. And now that we have so many ults on the board, this is just going to be an ult dump. You'll be seeing particles on your screen.
Get ready for flashbacks to Goats here. Here comes the Kitsune Rush from Noctara. The EMP also initiated from Buckethead, but the Deadeye from Frost is able to get rid of Fiercich. Now all of the ults coming out here from the side of Blossom and the Baconeers. The beat and the Kitsune Rush have popped as well. And Wi-Fi gets Ajax in the middle of their beat. The hack comes on from Buckethead to cancel out the beat. Wi-Fi doesn't get their beat off online, and now Baconeers have gotten rid of that ult entirely.
Buckethead.
A celebratory jump off the map, in my opinion.
I feel like if they were trying to like cross the map with a Translocator and didn't get any value, and even Wi-Fi acknowledges that he got Ajax, but there is nothing to help deal with the mines on point, and we only have Primal on the side of Baconeers, so if someone from Blossom just sits onto point, they could at least cap it while the chaos is happening in a tiny room with an angry monkey.
Yeah, Fiercich, however, is out of the room, and they immediately land on the Bochi and Luca as they clean up the field here. Noctara is traded, but the Baconeers still have control over this objective. Frost, however, is still alive, continuing to have that right-click Randy to just get rid of this Winston at every opportunity. Mac Tackle hacked out, but the rest of their team is cleaning up the picks one by one, and now the Baconeers almost certainly thrusted into last fight territory.
That's an interesting re-engagement from the side of Baconeers, right? Ideally, it seemed like it could get some value if people just like stabilize, if the team just stabilized just a bit after losing some of their players. But it looks like the card engage might have been too much. But here's an EMP to start things off.
5-man EMP from Buckethead. The Bochi immediately cut down to shreds. Frost now using the Deadeye with the beat from Wi-Fi to keep them sustained, and they kill out the Bakery with Fiercich falling as well. Frost popping up in the kill feed here on this Cassidy, cleaning up the remains. They'll die to Buckethead, but now overtime is triggered for the side of the Baconeers as they try to clean up, as they try to get this objective for their own. But Blossom have every single kill in the kill feed they need. Bakery is back, Buckethead in tow, but Buckethead is immediately shut out by the kunais from Luca as the Bakery tries to stall it out for Fiercich to come back. Fiercich is back. They get rid of Wi-Fi, but it's at the cost of their supports, and now they're the lone monkey on the objective, and Frost can't do much more as the point ticks down. Blossom will completely sprout into a beautiful flower, claiming the BPL Rally Rumble Championship.
A great job from Blossom, even with a couple of Ajaxes from Wi-Fi with their beat. At the end of the day, they did not need that beat at all to finally close out this match between the first seed and second seed of this BPL tournament, ultimately saying nothing wrong with being second during the placements, but hey, that just means it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and you may have started as second, you end now as first, and that's how it should be at the end of the day.
And Blossom, a team already with a bunch of awards to their name. I mentioned it at the start of the show. Between all of this, you have 4 champions on this roster. They add another one to their title here and are your Rally Rumble champions here in a very convincing 3-1 series. Only twice have they dropped a map. Ironically, it was the last match of the Swiss and the last match of the bracket.
Hey, and that just means, sometimes you will fumble, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, it's how you finish. They finally finished with this win under their belt. And wow, Bowsy, when did you change your background to silly, angry Mauga staring at you?
Well, obviously when the Mauga came out earlier in the matchup, but nonetheless, it was a very good effort from the Baconeers. We saw that potential on map 1, Flare continuing their dominant highlight reel, but It just wasn't enough. Once new Queen Street came around, the entire script flips on its head, and Blossom went out with a dominant victory of their own. What a matchup here to end out the Rally Rumble here, Thea, and what a performance from both of these teams. No matter the result, it was a truly extraordinary match.
I mean, extraordinary match, but also like the whole tournament as a whole is a great way to cap it off. And we've seen a lot of good talent appear during the Rally Rumble, lots of new faces, and lots of people have shown like what they have to offer to future teams in the BPL. And so Blossom just going to also showing that, hey, we have this stacked line. We are people that you should be considering later in the seasons.
Yeah, definitely. With BPL Season 6 coming up on the horizon, everyone on this Blossom roster is going to be hounded on by a lot of the teams. Don't be surprised if any of these people surpass the amount that Captain Prash went for in this tournament. Again, $332,000 is the limit, by the way. But nonetheless, a very good performance from all of these players. It's definitely going to be interesting to see how they fare in BPL Season 6 if they decide to join, as well as any of the players on the Baconeers, how they decide to go on here for their side. But with that being said, we have an interview to conduct here, Thorumea. It is time for the winner's interview with the members of the Blossom team. We have Frostfire, we have Luca, we have Wi-Fi, we have the Bochi, and we have Witchcrafts, apparently, according on their Discord, coming in to the chat. Regardless of which, congratulations, you are the champions of the Rally Rumble.
You forgot Mac Tackle. He was
I did miss Mac Tackle. I'm sorry.
They did so much work on ball.
The centerpiece of our whole team.
They flew past my screen. Listen, they flew past my screen so quick with how fast they were moving on the wrecking ball. Nonetheless, congratulations on being the champions of the Rally Rumble. How does it feel?
Good. Yippee.
Yay!
I saw a few unnamed British people put us quite low on the power rankings, which is absurd in my opinion.
Yeah, why was I bottom tier on power rankings?
I was a bottom 4 flex DPS apparently, according to a certain British person.
Why don't they have names? What? Everyone has a name.
Yeah, that must be strange.
We did it. We won. Shout out to the manager. Our manager is on a really big winning streak. He won all 3 divisions of BPL and the last Rumble and this one.
Yeah, shout out to the manager for drafting me, so I don't have to get second place again. I think that might have, if we had gotten second, that would have been like my 8th second, like in a row in BPL or something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, shout out to Baz for DMing Luca, so I got drafted. At
yeah, shout out to Baz. Frost is crazy, bro.
Yeah,
shout out to
Secret Demon. Secret 1K Demon
for subbing out Synex. That was big for them.
Yo.
All good though.
Yeah, definitely a lot of great things here from you guys. Now, take me through the beginning of this season. The Wrecking Ball composition. Obviously, that seems to be your bread and butter. Is this something that you've been practiced, or did Matt Tackle just say when he joined your team, "Hey, I'm playing Wrecking Ball, you can't stop me"?
No, it was more of a meta call, really. I just looked at all the tanks. I was like, yeah, I really want to play Wrecking Ball and spin my little wheelie around the point a lot. So,
like, Naga and Racha are incredibly boring to play and play against. So, like, we just don't want to do that. It's just.
I think, ball.
Especially because it's a weekend tourney. If you do anything that requires like a lot of adaptation or a lot of just like consistency to play well into, it's just so easy.
Yeah.
To like pull off.
Gimmicks are a little busted for the weekend tournament.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so lucky we didn't know that team was too good that we had to play Lucio Curie. We never on stream. We never got to play shooter comp. We never got to play. We thought
Lucio Curie was awful for the whole tournament, and then they went monkey, and we're like, oh wait, it's actually good. We haven't played it. We haven't played it once for the whole tournament.
Every other thing was we were playing double flex support with like Alari and shit. It was so fun. We had like double sniper at the time.
Like on like half the maps, we would roll out fucking Ball, Widow, Hanzo, Zenolari, and we just win. We'd call it just shoot them, you know? Like if you just hit your shots, you win the game.
This is the first time we've won Li Zhang.
Yeah,
this is true. First time we have Li Zhang. That's true.
Li Zhang was our only weakness for the whole tournament, and we just win it now.
Yep, I did notice that at the top of the show, considering the fact that it's the only map you did not take any points on in the entirety of this tournament. Take me through the thought process when you were about to go into Li Zhang Tower. Obviously, again, your weak point, but you come out and completely stop the opposition. What was the talk about before entering into the final map of the series?
We were praying.
Are we talking about playing Pharah?
Yeah, we were thinking about playing Pharah, but that was Night Market.
On Night Market, we were gonna play Pharmacy.
But like, we were like, are they gonna play Doom? But then Cynex is subbed out, so they're obviously not. So we're okay. They're gonna play a Rush Tank. So then we just prayed to get Control Center first, so the Junkrat just farms, and then we got it right. The Maga comp may seem good until you play into Junkrat. It's just actually just a hard counter pick.
Yeah, definitely. Junkrat, especially with those new buffs, can be considered a heavy counter to Mauga in this current meta. Thea, do you have any questions here for our winning team?
Honestly, not so much, but are we interested in introducing who the MVP for the match is?
I think we are ready to. I think we are ready to introduce your Rally Rumble MVP. It is Mac Tackle on the Wrecking Ball.
This is so easy to read. The script is right in front of me. Oh my god.
Thank you.
The script is real. The Season 3 MVP gets yet another MVP in a BPL tournament. Mac Tackle, how does it feel to be the MVP of the Grand Finals?
It was really great. I'm just so happy I got to play ball for like so many hours straight. That's like my favorite character in the game.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
It did show, right? You see how much we could see how much hours of like maybe Wrecking Ball game time you have just from how you just dominated the competition throughout the tournament this weekend.
A little bit, so 500 or so hours probably. Not much.
Yeah, definitely. The Wrecking Ball playing in favor here for Mac Tackle, earning the right of the MVP, being able to set up a lot of those engages throughout the entirety of this matchup. So congratulations to Mac Tackle, your Grand Finals MVP here in the Rally Rumble. With that being said, are there any final shout-outs that you guys would like to give before we send you on your way to prepare for Season 6?
Shout out Aura.
Right, he forgot about the tournament existing, but his drunk.
But he was owning on the first day when he showed up. He was owning.
Yeah,
honestly might have been
day one when he showed up and he went, none of these teams are good enough for me to play my main role, so I'm just going to play Junkrat only.
And then it worked, so...
And then he never dropped a map.
He has 100% win rate.
I don't think he dropped more than a point per map.
No, he had like maybe 1 or 2 points lost across the entirety of Swiss. So.
Shout out to Fairy. No one talked about Fairy yet. That guy's like Widowmaker Joe. I've actually never seen this guy make a run.
It sucks. I don't think I've ever had a team where like there's not, maybe besides me, there's just like no one, there's like literally no weak point, but at the same time, everyone is near like the top of their role. So it's just like consistency, no matter what.
Circuit Royale would have been demonic.
Please let me go for 90k in BPL Season 6. Please let me go for 90k again. Please don't bring me a lot of money. Please.
You'll go for 91k. I'll make sure of it next season. But definitely, again, congratulations all of you for winning the Rally Rumble Championship, and we hope to see all of you in Season 6 of Bad Pachamari League.
I'm not banned, sure. Yippee.
Goodbye. Thank you, BPL. Thank you.
Thank you guys.
We love you. Love the fans.
All right, and with that being said, Thea, that is the end of the Rally Rumble, and it's also the end of the third preliminary tournament before Bad Pachamari League Season 6. What a way to close out the weekend and prepare for the next main season of BPL.
Right, and with all these preliminary tournaments happening, right, we've seen some new talent come in, and that just means more choices to choose from for the incoming BPL Season 6, which is something I think everyone is looking forward to. So, great to stay tuned if Blossom members end up somehow sticking together, but most likely they might end up being split up, who knows, but we'll see how that goes.
Most likely with the auction format, it's going to be difficult to try and assemble these exact teams once again, but we'll have to see if there's going to be even more powerhouses entering in Season 6. We've been talking so much about Season 6, Thea, but technically we don't know a lot about it, which is why I'm happy to introduce two very special people who will help make next season possible, Solomon and Knock on Wood. Take it away.
Well, Solomon's not actually here to talk.
Well, Knock is here, so...
Yeah, I'm here. Solomon can't actually speak right now to the crowd, but... hello everyone. That was another weekend tournament, Rally Rumble in the books. Really fun. Yeah, I don't know what to say. My job is literally to stall. We have Teku cooking off in the corners to get a little hype video, and we wanted to include a clip from this stream. So yeah, I don't know. Solomon just left me to dry. This is why I sit behind the camera.
This is why indeed the Knockout is behind the camera. Solomon thankfully is in here to talk about it, as well as multiple other members of the staff, including Tekogen, who's actually here.
Yay!
Take it away, my friends.
This is why I'm here, because this guy doesn't know what he's talking about.
I don't.
Quick, just want to do the classic shout out at the end of the tournament to all the staff on the team, especially to the events team, of course, but also to all the production and talent. We've had some really good matches, actually. I've had a couple of really good bangers in this first of 3 as well. But always great to get some matches out, get some people prepped. We've had a lot of people that are brand new, getting into new stuff, and some people moving to different roles, and casters becoming observers, and all that kind of fun stuff. So it has been a really good one. So thanks everyone who has been behind the scenes getting this one running, and also all the captains and team staff and so on who make the events run as smoothly as they do.
I think this event we had the most amount of new players. It was crazy. It was like 100
insane.
new people. I feel I can give you the actual number, because 100 feels a lot, but yeah. Yep.
Well, as Bazzy said, this is the last tournament before Season 6. OMG.
It's here, finally.
It's almost here. Can you imagine? Season 6, just a week away. No. It's not a week away. Jesus Christ, it's not a week away. God, can you imagine?
We need a few weeks to recover from this.
Yeah, it's on the way. Nock, is there anything you need to say? Or
For this event?
For either. Anything you want to close the Rally Rumble?
That's it. No, thank you again for all the staff. Couldn't do it without you. Seriously, could not do it without you. It's amazing every single time we do it what BPL is able to produce. Being on I was doing socials this weekend and not being able to help with the broadcast. It was fun to actually just watch it because you guys are amazing. So, yep.
Thanks, Nock. I paid him to say that.
You did?
Okay.
Where?
Don't worry. Season 6 is around the corner. Teku, Nock, anything you need me to say? Because we have a video that's been in the works, as we've said like 10 times already. Mm-hmm. We'll just video and then end stream. So anything you need to say to prep it?
Oh.
If you want to, or I can just do it now and then come back.
No, I like sending it off with the video. It's short. It's to the point. It's nothing special. But in case it hasn't been made very clear, it's coming out faster than you might expect. There's a lot of eyes on Season 6. And I think that everyone is going to be very happy to see some returning stuff. And also, I think this might be the best season yet with how much pre-planning has been going into this. This has been a slow build for a very, very long time. And a lot of people on this team have done so much to get us to this point. So I appreciate every single one of my fellow admins and graphic designers, prod people, everyone who's gotten us to this point. And I'm excited to see just how awesome it is.
My thing will be if you're a new player in this year, it's nothing really like the last few events. This next one is you play once a week. We stream almost every single game for our A and B leagues. That's all 12 teams. Get every single game streamed, every moment casted. It's a lot of fun. And good news is that we have scheduled a break-in so that if you want to play in the OWCS Open qualifiers that are happening in 10 weeks, you're able to play on that. We have a break weekend for you. So yeah, send it, Solomon, I think.
Cool. Well, everybody, you heard them. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you soon for Season 6. Big thank you to all of my staff this weekend, specifically, and today to Bowsy and Thor for the banger finals. Had a great one. Also to Mega and Teku and Kaylee and Cheer for the rest of today, and of course throughout the rest of the weekend. We'll see you very soon for Season 6. See you later.
Jacob gets out, Chance Swifters, gets a big Hudson, another big Swifters, that is it, Seeds, the final champion, gold medal for Seeds.
The point ticks down, Blossom will completely sprout into a beautiful flower, claiming the BPL Rally Rumble Championship!
Break.
Calling you out now, and you're feeding your own mind as we're caught in a landslide.